Remember, I honestly don't
That's
remember.
that's what we usually say.
Okay. Then we can start with just random. We're gonna start now.
We already started actually.
We already started. Nah, I don't think we should have started with asking what we're gonna end with.
Well, I mean, there's a certain finality and like a closed circle to it all.
Yeah, sure,
Don't you think?
sure. I don't know. I don't know. But in the meantime, we are getting closer and closer to. Well, actually, we are in full-blown spooky season.
Yeah, spooky season, of
Spooky
course.
season. It's
In fact,
it's,
I believe
it's
this.
giving,
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
youngsters say.
Let me confirm. I think this episode is going up either on Halloween or the
The day
before. The day
Halloween,
before
I
Halloween.
think.
Yeah,
On the 30th.
on the 30th, exactly.
30th of October 2025
Yes.
for people watching in the future.
How presumptuous of us to believe people will watch it in the future, but
Centuries from now.
it's when the aliens come to a desolate Earth and they find a thumb drive, a USB stick with our episode on it.
And
Like,
they see
this
the
is what
thumbnail.
humanity used to be like,
Yes,
sitting at a
Madonna.
table,
Best
talking.
best example of humanity ever. Well,
I think we should say hello to everyone. Hello, everyone.
oh, wow, you are over there. We haven't noticed. Hi.
Pain. Pain.
Listen. I gotta keep my kind of soft cringe going. Okay.
In the meantime, I'll keep the hard cringe going.
Yes, now definitely. So
See?
hello everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello everyone, and welcome to
Session 1.
Episode?
Is it episode 3?
of course, episode
Is
3.
it? Yes, episode 3.
Episode 3.
Episode 3.
Actually, we get a bit confused when we talk about
Yeah.
episodes because there is some there is some time travel, time
Yes.
shifting. This is not
Yes.
the first time we talk about
Yes,
this.
we won't go into the whole would have had they been.
Yes, let's
like,
not do that
No,
again,
never again.
please, because it was very confusing for myself
And
doing
for the
it. I
audience.
cannot imagine how confusing was for them
Yeah.
hearing it.
It was very, very confusing, but it was also a lot of fun. So episode 3, and today we have obviously spooky season. Tomorrow for you guys is Halloween.
It's Halloween.
So
Yes.
we have dressed up the library a little bit in towards a
Yes.
festive mood.
Yeah, actually, if you can spot them and if you can count them, how many there are super cute little ghosts with witch's hat.
Yeah,
So let's see who can guess the number of ghosts that are on the library
and where they
and
are.
where they are. Leave it in the comment. Write in the comment how many ghosts you found.
Exactly. And there's also some bats around. Ironically, a bat on a Batman. Right over there.
Aha, yeah, on the comic book.
co-
Yeah.
a
Because
bat
I
on
was
a
looking at the
Batman, is that-
the
yeah.
Batman on the top over
Oh
there.
no, that.
Uh-huh,
I also have another Batman box down there. It's not visible on camera. It's got
Uh-huh.
the mask from the Court of Owls,
the
which is spooky as
Owls,
fuck. I should
yes.
actually have worn that.
Actually, yes.
But
That would have been fantastic.
I actually, for those who have been my friends for a very long time, on Facebook, one of my profile pictures was actually me wearing that mask.
That mask.
Yeah, it's been that
By the way,
long.
do you like spooky season?
I love spooky season.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think is probably my favorite season of the year,
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that I love summer. Summer is my favorite season.
Yeah.
But if I have to choose between, let's say, Carnival, Halloween, Christmas, Easter, like the festivities, I think Carnival and Halloween they score probably the highest, and right after Christmas.
I think for
right
me it's going
after
to be like
those.
Halloween and Christmas because I like the colder seasons.
Yeah.
And they remind me of the times where you can actually just stay at home with a nice blanket, rolling dice.
By the way, a blanket, something that, as in Malta, we are not gonna need for the foreseeable future.
Well, I mean, the way things are going,
it's
just yes,
so hot.
yeah. For
right
those
now.
foreigners, to put into context for the foreigners, essentially we had 2 weeks ago we had a weekend. Or was it last week? Last week we had a weekend which was full of rain.
Yeah.
It was really
Fully-
cold.
Yeah, it looked like winter.
Yeah, absolutely. And
And
then
then 28 degrees again.
29 degrees today. Amazing. I hate summer.
I actually don't hate summer. I hate when it's almost the end of October and
And it's still
it
summer.
still feels like summer. That's not
At this point, I don't think
enjoyable.
anyone goes to the beach at this point.
There
Anyway,
is, there is,
Are there
there's
still
a ton
people
of people
going?
still going to the beach,
What?
especially like tourists and stuff.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like people who's here for a shorter time.
Yeah.
They're... By the way, that also gives me the opportunity to say, because this is something that I'm gonna try and fit in every episode of our podcast. Sleeves are bullshit. So sleeveless again. If you ever see me with sleeves on,
Rip them off.
That's probably no. Please don't do that. But no, that's probably it's some there's been some temporal shift, like some
Yes.
strange that's a Pepe from a different timeline.
Exactly. It's a
That's not
Pepe who would like to work the corporate environment rather than the D&D verse.
So yeah.
So-
If you see me with sleeves on, don't trust that guy.
Exactly.
He's from a
You need to let us know about that so that we can responsibly banish him back into his home dimension typically by liking our video, subscribing. That's how we get our attention.
Yes, please.
Smooth.
That's oh my god. If it would have been smooth if you didn't say.
But that's the whole point. I told you,
Yes.
hard cringe. I'm going
Yes,
hard
yes,
cringe,
yes.
man.
Thank you.
But
you. That makes me feel better.
Yeah,
about
that's my
being
whole point, man.
a little bit cringe. Thank you.
That's my whole point. I'm doing all of this for you.
Thank you very much. You are so gracious,
Absolutely.
as always.
You wait until next year when I don't have to be gracious.
Also, well, would you like to tell us why next year?
Well, I mean, we have a lot of projects
should we?
elsewhere.
Should we? Should we say why?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I have the LARP next
Next
year, and
year.
I'm definitely not going to be gracious to you at the LARP.
Well, I am looking forward. Also, because we're gonna have the LARP very soon. We're gonna have first episode of the LARP coming, like, I think in less than a month.
Oh, yeah, that's the contracts.
Yeah, the contracts.
Yeah, the contracts.
Yeah.
The contracts
Well,
are...
sorry, I meant my first
Your
ever
first,
LARP. Yes.
So last episode, I misquoted the actual date of the contract. It's going to be on the 22nd of
22nd
November,
of
not
November,
21st.
yes.
That's going to be the Saturday. And basically, that's going to be the first one. Nephilim also announced the second round of contracts as
Yes.
well. I'm not sure if I'll be participating in that one. I might.
Well, you should. 'Cause
I should.
I am.
I know.
I am going.
For both of them.
100%.
I
100%.
mean, I still have to clarify and see with the organizers whether it's going to be the same storyline or not, because it's going to be just the same contract.
Yeah,
repeated.
obviously, yeah. If it's gonna
might
be
not
like
be.
just a repetition of the same event for a different audience, obviously, I'm not gonna take part
Yeah,
in that.
but it
But
depends.
I believe it's gonna be a different.
I
one.
think so too. I think they
it's
have the
gonna be a
capacity to
different
do two
one.
different
Yeah,
ones,
yeah.
and I think they will. Well, I mean, the whole point of having a second episode was like a second contract was so that people who didn't
To
get
include
tickets,
more people.
Yeah, and then if they do like a second,
Well, but I'm
yeah,
new.
I know.
I'm new. I wanna explore
I highly encourage that.
as much as I can. And by the way, I'm gonna take this opportunity to say hi to Jade. Hi, Jade.
Hi, Jade.
And we will maybe talk about this in an episode in the coming future, but maybe my character will have something to do with Jade's character.
Perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, to be
Yeah.
honest. We're still...
All I can tell you is
That's just an idea, but-
all I can tell you is leave Devin off house score so the fuck alone, or he will
I'm not
perform
scared.
experiments.
I'm not scared.
No.
Uh,
So,
First of all,
yeah, first order of business.
let's start with important things,
Yes.
as we like to start every our episode. First of all,
As
thank
ve-
you
yeah.
all for watching.
Absolutely.
Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and do all the YouTuber things.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
No.
But no, we want to thank first of all the people who are supporting
Yeah,
us.
absolutely.
By
Our
liking
patrons.
and sharing and supporting. But also we want to thank a very good friend of ours.
Yes.
Which has now also become one of our supporters.
Exactly. One of our newest supporter, that will be Looper, also known, colloquially, also known, AKA Steve.
Steve. Thank you, Steve. He's
yeah.
also always in the chat. So
Yeah,
hi,
absolutely.
Steve. Let's everybody say hi to Steve.
Yeah, say hi.
He's
say hi to
probably
Steve.
gonna be there in the chat.
Yeah.
Uh,
So there's that, and we also need to thank all our other Patreons.
Yeah, of
Just
course.
One other person, but of course highly important is Ryan, Rundo Miniature Forge, who very graciously gave us
Yes.
that D&D ampersand.
Look
back
how
there.
nice it looks.
It's 3D printed. I think, can we get it over here, Pepe? Can you get it
you want-
closer?
do you want
Because
me
it
to get
doesn't
it?
really show that well, I think.
It's hidden by the mic stand.
Yeah,
Oh,
and there,
is a little ghost.
well, there's one, and we
there.
gave one away. It's okay. See how cool this is. This is 3D printed, and it's actually like the red part is
A little ghost.
yeah, the red part is actually raised. It's really cool. He gave it to us at PlayCon. So yeah, thank you so much. We
Thank you
actually-
guys. Thank you
we
guys
actually
for
perhaps
supporting
just
us.
leave it here for now. And yeah, and these are the cute
Yeah, this is one of the ghosts.
one of the
So
ghosts.
Find the rest of the ghosts.
Find
that
the
are
rest
on
of them.
that are on the.
This one doesn't count.
This one, I mean, every ghost counts.
What is it, like the tutorial level of every
Listen.
game that comes out every day? Like press X to interact with something. Of course I'm gonna press X.
Ghost lives matter, okay?
Fuck off. Okay,
Or
so
used to, because they don't have it anymore. They're ghosts.
where they don't have. Yeah, that's a fair point.
So
Well,
what
we're off
are
to
we
a
going...
train wreck of a start. Amazing.
Yes, absolutely. What are we going to talk about today?
Okay, so going by the agenda that you forwarded,
Yes.
you so graciously forwarded, we have three main portions to this
Yes.
podcast today. So in reality, it might run a little bit longer than usual, to be honest. We'll call it a Halloween special,
It
whatever.
might.
We need to talk about Project Sigil, which is an interesting effort by, shall we say, the D&D team, and we'll talk about like what happened to it and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's also the second part, which is the Tales from Woodcreek,
Oh my
which
God.
has got Pepe all hyped up
I
about
am
it.
super excited.
Like,
I
oh
am
my
super
God.
excited. That's such a great... It looks so amazing.
It does. And thirdly, we'll finish up and wrap up this podcast with a discussion about some Halloween themed like monsters,
touch of horror.
a touch of horror,
Yes.
and like where the monsters, especially in like those which are very usually kind of like connected or shall we say thought of when we think of Halloween, like the typical Halloween.
Yeah, like the typical horror creatures of the night.
And their folklore, where they came from, and like how they manifest in our beloved D&D universe, and you know, and other ones as well. So Pepper, would you like to start us off with Project Sigil?
So yes,
Can you tell us a little bit first and foremost what Project Sigil is or
Project
was?
Sigil was, and we say was because actually, let's start from the end this time
Yeah.
instead of starting from the beginning.
For a change.
Because Project Sigil is being shut down officially by Wizard of the Coast. Project Sigil started a couple of years ago, just from an idea, which was in response of how popular during the pandemic digital play,
Yeah.
how popular it became during the pandemic and right after the pandemic.
Exactly. In fact, speaking of, the Epigeeks actually started off
Yeah,
with a live streamed campaign, like
Yeah,
D&D campaign, which was
during-
completely held on Tabletop Simulator and Skype. I think at the time we used, and Skype.
At the time,
Skype
Skype,
does-
that
Skype
doesn't
doesn't
exist
exist
anymore. Skype also doesn't exist anymore.
So yeah, so like
yeah.
the VTT, as we call it, the virtual tabletops, the scenario VTT scenes in D&D is something which
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
crucial.
they were crucial.
during the pandemic because obviously
Absolutely.
people was staying away from each other and distancing and not seeing each other, so people was looking for connection.
Yeah.
And had these come out at that time in 2020 or in 2021, I think it would have been a smashing success.
absolutely.
Unfortunately, these came out in the beginning of this year. So I think around February it was
Yes.
open. It was an open beta, and there was a bunch of testers, and it was pretty much open to anyone who had a D&D Beyond account.
Yes, in fact, I did try to toy around with it a little bit, and I do have some like monster
Minis
packs
and
myself.
stuff, yes.
Yeah.
Because they were
absolutely.
giving the opportunity
Yes.
to use these minis. So basically, it was going to be a VTT run on Unreal Engine. So it was going to be like a high visual,
Yeah.
very supposed to be a very high performing
Yeah.
visually as a VTT. And then it was supposed to evolve into a marketplace where people could create miniature and sell those miniature, a little bit like Steam does with video games.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So that was the initial idea of Wizard of the Coast that wanted to digitalize the game as much as possible. Because obviously That means, tiers of subscription and continue people that continue buying, miniatures and monsters and assets and stuff to build your world
absolutely.
digitally. Which, to be honest, it was, I think, a very good idea.
Yes.
But it did not start in the best way, simply because it came right after a period in which Wizard of the Coast had many controversy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when has it not? But
yes.
yeah.
But I mean, especially in recent year with,
yeah.
all the stuff that has been happening. So also, this was had the very pretentious idea of working not on laptop only, but on mobiles as well, and running, Unreal Engine on mobiles. It was going to be
Very difficult.
Very difficult.
I mean, look, it's not exactly an original idea to begin with.
No.
There are other. Let's just identify like the 3D model visual of a VTT. Right. Let's forget the D&D Beyond map thing.
Yeah,
and let's forget Roll20 and that sort of thing. So there's primarily tabletop simulator.
Yeah.
There's Talespire. Nowadays it's still in early access, but it's there, and it's a very good bundle as well. Without not sponsored or anything, but
Not
I have it.
But if you want to sponsor us,
Absolutely.
hit us
And like they've already got support for different miniature making tools, like for example integration with Hero Forge.
Yeah.
So with Tabletop Simulator you can actually import Hero Forge exports,
miniatures
and stuff like that, which you can also, by the way, if you have a subscription, if you have a Hero Forge Pro, which we used to have as well,
we used to have,
you can actually
use a lot, actually.
Yes,
we created
and
a bunch of
and you used to be able to share your miniatures with everyone else, and people could download like the different ones. So I actually even found like a magma elemental at some point, which is not an actual creature, it's like
I remember the fucking magma elemental.
Yeah.
I do remember.
Absolutely. So people got really
one
creative.
of the most horrifying battles I've ever fought in D&D.
People were really creative with those kinds of tools. So Sigil wasn't really bringing anything new to the table other than the fact that this might be viable on mobile. And
also it was directly integrated with D&D Beyond. So you were having
that might have been
the opportunity to transport your character sheet and all the data that you had into the books directly to the game.
Yes, but that only works, in my opinion, with regards to, well, I mean, maybe names, and maybe like Fog of War if you're introducing like Dark Vision, that sort of thing. Because in reality, when you use something like Talespire Tabletop Simulator, all you're really taking from your character sheet is your character's name and maybe HP if you want to keep a visual track of it. But
that's the
separate.
thing. That would have been the difference of it. That this would have had, like, clicking on a token, you would have had the possibility to open the character
it's
sheet.
a little bit more functional. I agree.
That's what I'm saying. So,
table,
I mean, to be honest, it was not impossible to achieve, but it was a big endeavor that they did not had the I would say probably the human power.
No, I think, and we'll get into the actual news in a bit, but I think the biggest drawback for Sigil was that first and foremost, it was not new. It was not a new concept. It was just slightly bit more functional.
Also, it was very video gamey.
It was very video gamey.
Because it had a ton of... I mean, the expectation was to have it a ton of interactivity, in the sense when you cast Fireball, you're going to see a Fireball. When you cast Lightning Bolt, you're going to see a Lightning Bolt. So it was going to become video gamey in a sense.
Nowadays, there are D&D groups who are literally creating their own maps in Baldur's Gate 3.
Let's talk about Baldur's Gate 3 once again, and the fact that I have not played it yet, because someone does not want to play it with me.
Find me a couple of hours and we will. So people are creating their own campaigns in Baldur's Gate 3 and playing them in the game.
Gate. Yeah, I've seen it.
Essentially, like, how can I say this? Like, with this proper setup, it can be the equivalent of Sigil. But there's a lot of backend setup.
I think far superior than what Sigil was trying to be. Because you are creating literally a video game.
Yeah, but like, you've got all the
assets, like a storyline. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, I get the point of why Sigil would have been useful. I'm not saying it was not going to be useful at all. It's just another tool which I think came a little bit too late to the party with far too little to offer.
Yeah.
compared to everyone else.
And also, once it went live on February, couple of months after, about 90% of the Sigil team was laid off
Yeah.
from Wizard of the Coast.
No, here's the
So-
thing, Wizards. When you lay people off, your audience typically doesn't like it.
Yeah, especially if you fire a large,
Yeah.
piece of your team.
Yeah. I mean, was there a reason given why as to why they were fired?
To be honest, they tried to do it like hush hush.
Yeah, they always try to. Wizards is not exactly.
But and that's I wouldn't say Wizards of the Coast. I would say Hasbro, because it's always
Yeah,
Hasbro
but okay, fine.
decision.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yes, there were not specific reasons, like apart from corporate blah 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 blah.
Corporate lingo.
Yes.
Yeah.
But basically, I think that the change in management, because before there was a guy, I don't remember his name, but he was a very controversial figure. He was the guy that wanted to digitalize everything and do all these things. The guy got fired, and I think at that point they had already decided to put, let's say, on hold Sigil, and they had to cut people off, so they decided to cut off mostly of the Sigil team.
Yeah.
Then after that, basically there was no more development of
Yeah.
Sigil from that point onwards.
Yeah.
But there was some people from the community that was actually using it and actually building stuff and actually, interacting and giving feedback on that. And on that, we have to at least acknowledge that Wizard has been very grateful, and he in their statement that came out
Yeah, but I mean, if it,
literally days ago,
Yeah.
like 2 days ago, they have thanked the community. They have apologized to the community for shutting down the project, but they realized that was not something that they could sustain long term, and was not something that they could possibly, I would say, see D&D turning into.
yeah,
So they have moved away a little bit, I think, from the full digitalization of the game. Thanks God, because that's. I mean, nobody wanted that.
look,
really,
there was a
I don't
shift
think
in.
nobody wanted that.
No, I agree to a certain extent. I agree. I cannot deny that certain digital tools are incredibly useful, and even I myself, as much as I wish to play D&D completely with pen and paper, reality is that something like D&D Beyond is so useful.
100.
It's so accessible, makes the information to you so accessible that it helps streamline the game. That nowadays I honestly do not imagine D&D being played without D&D Beyond, for example.
To be honest, it would be
Speaking
really
from
hard
myself.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And speaking from my side, from the very moment that D&D Beyond, I find out that D&D Beyond existed, I immediately subscribed. I've been having a Master Tier subscription since I think 2016 or 2017. I renew it every year because, as you know, I have almost every D&D book that has been published ever since, and I share it with all the people that I play D&D with because it's super useful.
Yeah.
It's super useful if you have new players and they need to learn how to play. It's super useful for creating characters.
Yeah.
You can create character in literally minutes.
Yes, super useful for DMs as well, like for quick
For
reference
DM,
to
incredible.
spells, stats,
Yes.
weapons, whatever. Like it's and even just the homebrew creation of it, it's insane.
The homebrew.
And the integration of homebrew, you can create homebrew stuff and keep
Yes.
it private, or share it with the public, and public can rate it and stuff like that.
And there is also a bunch of
Yeah.
Chrome. How do you call the? I don't remember the words in English.
Say it in Italian.
Hold on. Like these little things that you have over there that you can use on Chrome to.
The add-ons. What do you call?
I don't remember. There is like a specific word.
Extensions.
Extensions. Yes, that's a good
Extensions. Yeah.
Google Chrome extension that allows you to use D&D Beyond directly on Roll20 or directly on Foundry and all these things that makes it super, super useful and makes playing digitally much easier.
Yes,
much
absolutely.
easier.
I mean, that is not to say that, for example, something like Roll20 did not have the character sheet functionality before, but never to the extent where it was integrated with source material there and then, directly from the publisher, because that was it really. I
So
think
either you
yeah,
had to buy the books
yeah,
both on D&D
and then
Beyond
port
and
them, yeah,
port them into Roll20.
yeah,
And I mean, buy them again on
yeah,
Roll20 because you can buy the
yeah,
books directly on Roll20. But then at that point, to be honest, personally, I never enjoyed very much the interface of the
yeah,
character sheet on
exactly,
D&D Beyond. It's
exactly.
very confusing. It's very complicated.
On the D&D Beyond,
On,
Roll
pardon me,
20.
on
No,
Roll20.
I agree. I think
Yes.
Roll20 is very much bare bones.
Yeah.
It looks like something like a couple of friends created, and that works very well for a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. I like the additional graphics that are with
Yes.
D&D Beyond. I
And-
like
and-
the fact that character sheets look nice.
Yes,
as
yes.
well.
And they look neat, and also you are literally one click away from the information.
Exactly.
Like you can click on every single part of the character sheet, and it's going to explain
Yeah,
to you
and some of
how
them
it
have
works.
Some of them have like tooltips as well.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
for example, if you
100%.
hover over status conditions,
Yeah.
they will tell you what it is without going
Yes,
into another site.
exactly.
So
if you have
no,
advantage
there-
or disadvantage to something, like it's
it automatically
super,
calculates.
super
And you can
useful.
also like roll on it.
You can roll on it as well.
I like the whole rolling on the table because it's a nice feature. Don't get
Yes.
me wrong. But when we're doing it digitally, that's the only way we could do it and keep it legit. you
Yeah,
know?
I do not enjoy the digitally rolling.
No, not when you're sitting around the table.
Yeah. No, even when you play digitally, I don't enjoy like the graphic of
Oh
the
well,
die.
you can yeah, it's fine. But the graphics aside, like you have the functionality of clicking on a number and
super
it
useful.
rolls it for you and calculates crits and that sort of thing.
So yeah,
So no, D&D Beyond is very useful, and I think Sigil was a bit of a failed opportunity in my opinion. I mean, it would have been a nice if it was done well. It would have been a really nice tool to have for those who cannot meet around the table and play.
Yeah.
For the regular folk who do not, I don't know, live stream or stuff like that, like people who meet every week
Yeah.
around the table, can be useful if, for example, there are absentees, if there are people who maybe are sick and cannot make it.
or maybe if you use an
You know-
actual digital battle map, like
Yeah.
in some of my games, I do use a digital. I mean, actually, in all my games, because I'm not good at doing and making miniatures.
Okay.
So all my tokens and all my monsters and all my maps are all
Okay.
digital.
Okay.
So that would have been, very beautiful
Yeah.
to look at.
Yeah.
But again, you would have needed a very powerful computer just to run it.
Exactly. But speaking of last time when we tried, a few months ago, we kind of started a bit of a one-shot kind of dipping our feet again with some of the old folk from Epigeeks. And we tried it on Talespire, and Talespire looks absolutely beautiful. By the way, those are all human-generated maps.
Yeah, I remember you told us.
So
you
I just
showed
found
us
them
those maps,
online,
yeah.
and I found this like map of a forest, and they had the fight with blights.
By the way, usual shout out to the OG
OGs.
Epigeeks.
Hi guys. But yeah, I mean, going back onto Sigil and the fact that it's shut down,
So yeah, on the 24th of this month, which is
Yeah.
just a couple of days ago,
yeah, for us.
they said we have made the difficult decision to end development on Sigil. This was not a decision made lightly. What we've learned from Sigil will guide how we approach future digital tools. So this does not say that they will not try again something. I think they will stick with the maps making tool that they have because they are implementing it and they are trying to make it better. So I think that's the extension of the digital tools that they will make.
Do you think that perhaps progress on D&D Beyond tools in general is slow? Speaking for, I think going from a time where you say, okay, so this is what I have in D&D Beyond to the next, oh, this feature is cool, takes quite a long time sometimes. Like, for example, for the maps to be implemented, they have been in alpha or beta for a very long time. And they were never quite implemented in a way where you could say, like, listen, if you got a team and you sit down for a couple of weeks and months, you could probably crack it down. So why does it take so long? I don't know what the development cycles are for big companies like that. I won't pretend like I will ever get to know, I'll be honest. But I feel from a consumer point of view, I think the updates between one version and the next take too long for people, for it to remain relevant. And I suspect that Sigil might have been,
I mean,
might have been succumbed to something like that.
Yeah, that would have been the same fate that Sigil would have had. And
Exactly.
even slower, probably.
Yeah.
What I think is great about the D&D Beyond Maps tool is
That's
that
good.
it's under... first of all, it's free.
Yes, yes.
So even if you
yes.
don't have, you just need to create an account on D&D Beyond. You don't need to have a
Yes.
subscription to use it.
You can also use tokens from source books which you do not own, but you cannot see their stat blocks.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I've done it before. I tried it.
And so a lot of people who actually does have a subscription, they do use it because you can use the maps directly from the
Yeah.
books that you
Yeah.
own. And you wouldn't have to pay another subscription.
No.
For example, me and my groups, we share the costs for D&D
Okay.
Beyond and Roll20 because we play on Roll20.
Okay.
So we use Roll20 for the maps and D&D Beyond for the character
sheet and
sheets
stuff.
and
Yeah.
books.
So
So that would be another advantage of having an integrated tool
yeah.
without the extra cost of another
Yes.
subscription.
I mean, also it allows you to upload your own maps. 'Cause
yes,
I've
you
tried
can.
that in
You
the past.
can.
There's a last time I tried, it was a little bit iffy in trying to scale it and stuff like that, but
And also, you can't
it's
save them. I mean, last I checked, that I think was last year. You can't really save
I
them.
think I did, but there was something off with it. I can't remember what it
Mm-hmm.
was, but I remember using it. I was like, you know what? I'll stick to tabletop simulator at the time. But yeah, I mean, speaking of D&D campaigns and stuff like that, I mean, honestly, I look forward to the time where we play again. Hopefully around the table, not
Oh my
virtually.
God.
So,
You have no idea how much I want to play D&D.
me too, man.
I haven't played as an actual player. I mean, apart from that one one game we had,
Yeah.
or two, we had two sessions.
I think we had 2 sessions, and we still haven't found time for the
And then we
third
haven't
one.
found- yes,
But
months have gone
mostly
by.
my fault, to be honest.
Months have gone by.
Mostly my fault.
But to be honest, I haven't played, I think, since last year.
Yeah.
When my friend Federico, shout out to Fede,
Hi, Fede.
he offered to DM for for like a two, 3 shots. I think we had like 4 sessions.
Yeah.
And then I said, no, don't worry. I know you want to play. Let me take over for a while. And
Yeah.
I started a campaign, which I'm still running.
Okay.
So
Damn.
I stopped playing as a player.
Damn.
I stopped being a player. But no, it's a lovely game. We don't have much time because obviously we're all adults. Some of us have children. Some of us, partners, and we all have a day job. So
And hobbies.
and hobbies as well. But talking about people that
Yeah.
play D&D as their day job.
Oh,
Can we talk about what the Dungeon Dudes are doing?
that was
'Cause
so cool, man.
I
That was
am
so cool.
so excited about Tales from
Yeah.
Woodcreek.
Yeah. So first and foremost, that's a very cool name.
It
That's a very cool
It
name,
is. It
Woodcreek.
is.
It's such a simple name, but I love it, man. It's amazing. So, what was it actually? I know that at one point over the past week, Pepe just came to me online and said, like, "Man, you have to watch this. It's really cool. It's really cool." Like, I'm like, "Look at what they're doing." He was really excited. So, why was Pepe excited? Why was Pepe excited?
So, Pepe
It was definitely D&D, obviously. Like when I saw like 5 messages like after each other, like bing, bing, bing. I was like, okay, it's something about D&D, and it's probably
Yeah.
Pepe.
and Pepe that never gets excited about this kind of stuff.
Oh no,
Actually,
never, no,
Not
never.
easily exciting at all. But yeah, so I had seen a couple of weeks ago the trailer for Tales from Woodcreek, which is a D&D live play mixed with a horror movie vibe and an escape room environment. So it's a very high production.
Yeah, I was just about to say it was on the tip of my tongue. It's high production.
Yeah, it's a very high production, I think, kind of thing. It's going to be 8 episodes,
Okay.
1 hour episode each,
Okay.
highly edited. Because obviously they're trying to cut all the fluff. Because obviously they've played hours and hours and hours and hours, but they want to keep, all the juicy parts into these 1 hour episodes. And it has been co-created and produced by the Dungeon Dudes and Deborah Ann Woll. She's going to be the Dungeon Master.
Yes.
Monty and Kelly are going to be the 2 main players and 2 main
Dungeon
members
Dudes,
of the cast. Yeah, the Dungeon Dudes. Shout out to the Dungeon Dudes.
Hi, Dungeon Dudes.
And together with them, there is going to be a bunch of other players, which I mean, they are listed as guest players, but I think some of them are going to be there for most of the time.
Yeah.
So there is going to
I
be
mean,
Angeli Bimani.
it's an 8-hour long thing, essentially. Like,
Yes.
on air. So,
On air. Yes. Yes.
So I think there's only so many guests you can kind of go through in 8 hours, I suppose.
Yes. So there is.
At least to establish, have a fulfilling arc, and terminate, you know?
Yes. Yes. There is Angeli Bimani. There is Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton.
He's going to roll a bunch of ones for sure.
Oh,
as he
God.
always does.
Oh, God. That reminds... Oh, God.
As he always does.
I had forgotten that.
You forgot the curse?
I forgot. I
Will
used to
Wheaton?
watch him on tabletop. That's how I got most of my board games over there. Most of them have been on tabletop. You know, Mice and Mystics, Eldritch Horror, I don't think it was on tabletop, but they had Lords of Waterdeep, Fortune and Glory.
By the way, now that we are pointing over
Sorry, it's
there,
behind
like,
the book, yeah.
there is here a beautiful Call of Cthulhu
The
book
Call of Cthulhu. Let me just...
that we decided
yeah.
to put on display for Halloween. We should play some Call of Cthulhu.
I have never played Call of Cthulhu.
You
but I
never
would love it.
played?
However, I think we can say something. We're going to have a few friends over next Wednesday.
Okay.
We're going to be playing. You're going to be one of them. No need to act so
I
surprised.
was gonna pretend I didn't know, you know.
It's part of a whole project. Be careful.
Pardon me?
It's part of a whole project, which we'll reveal later on. But essentially, we're going to be playing Eldritch Horror. It's down there. It's one of my favorite board games, which actually, they did play Eldritch Horror on tabletop. I remember Patrick Rothfuss was on it,
Okay.
and he died
Okay.
in character. And I'm probably going to play his character. But anyway, and we're going to actually be playing the board game in character. So we're going to be role-playing the characters as
Yeah,
play.
we're gonna try.
We're gonna try. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And so yeah, Eldritch Horror.
Yeah,
Mice
it's going
and
to be like
Mystics,
our Halloween.
Elder Sign I have as well.
Our
Starbucks.
Halloween board game night.
Yeah, like a Halloween board game night, kind of like, you know, get together with some friends, get some clean snacks. Because I love my board game and stuff like that. But anyway,
So going back on
back
Tales
to Will
from
Wheaton, I forgot
Woodcreek,
about, yeah.
So there is going to be a bunch of other actors, which they all come from like Marvel TV series
Yeah.
and other TV series like True Blood and
Yeah.
another. I think Vampire Diaries. There is one of them. So there is Iman Vellani, Will Wheaton, Angeli Bimani, Jessica Henwick, and Sean Majumder.
Mayunder, maybe? I don't
Mayunder. I'm
I
sorry.
apologize
I'm
for
sorry.
this
I don't know.
spelling.
I don't know how to spell
Me
your
either.
surname.
We'll just call him Sean.
Sean, best buddy.
My brother is actually named Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's not him, though.
No, it's not him. It's not the
him,
same
no.
guy. Okay, weird. So yeah, it has been created by Deborah Ann Woll and Ed Grasdanley, which is a filmmaker. So they're gonna have obviously like set cameras. So first of all, the stage is going to be each episode is gonna be shot in a different area of like an abandoned like town or something.
But is this like around the table, or is it like live action, like a LARP?
So this is the thing. It's a hybrid
Ooh.
because they're gonna have moment in which they're gonna be around the table, but they're gonna interact with the environment, and then there are gonna be moments in which they're gonna walk around like these houses or these manors or these different environments and solve riddles as if it was an actual escape room.
Interesting. So essentially, their characters' attributes are their own.
Yes. Well,
In a way.
I think so. That's actually the point of the entire show. So the point of the show is trying to attract an audience. There is not necessarily a D&D live play audience that would sit there and watch something for 4 or 5 hours,
Like we're doing.
like we do. But it's to attract that audience because obviously they're still gonna have moments of that, but also to give the opportunity to someone that is maybe not confident enough to approach a 4 or 5 hours live stream with some element that are more a bit more cinematic or a bit more interesting in actual visual.
Mm-hmm.
So there is going to be a lot of like special effect, as in like actual effect, not like CGI.
Yeah, like
But
physical
physical interaction
etc.
with the environment
Yeah.
and sounds and things happening
Pyrotechnics.
around. I don't know if there is going to be
Fireball.
pyrotechnics, but in the trailer there is actually a book that has an eye that blinks on it.
I would love to make something.
There is a video of
I
I
would love
think
to make
I don't
something
remember
like
if
that.
I think it's Kelly from the Dungeon Dudes that is like walking with a lantern in a corridor, and then all of a sudden there is like a knock on the wall, and he's like super scared. Like you can see the fear on his face. So yeah, the idea is obviously to give the opportunity to a different audience to approach the hobby, because
Absolutely.
it's still gonna be based on Dungeons and Dragons, but it's going to have like this different format, which it's obviously a very high value production, but it does look insane.
I think one of the biggest issues that perhaps you would agree we met with
It's not having a huge budget.
no
That's one of the issues we're having.
but that's one. So at PlayCon, which happened
A couple of weeks ago.
a couple of weeks ago now, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, thank you, Jade. 2 weeks ago, we had. I think the biggest question for people who never play D&D is like, what is D&D? Like, what do you do in D&D?
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to explain. Okay, so you sit around the table and you pretend you're a character, kind of thing. That's the easiest way you can say. And it's very kind of confusing when you're trying to explain it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have never played before,
If you've never played
it's
or
a very
never
abstract
seen it, it's
thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think having something like that might be very interesting for people to get interested in the hobby, at least, because I think it's a short leap from what they're doing to you sit around the table and you roleplay the character then, and even then to LARP and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's a good introduction to what roleplay is. Not necessarily tabletop roleplay, but
Roleplay,
to roleplay,
definitely, yes. Now, my fear is they're already talking that if this is gonna be successful, which we know is gonna be successful,
it's gonna be.
they're thinking about a season 2, a possibility for a season 2.
Can we apply?
Well, I wish.
Can we apply? Maybe go to Canada for.
I wish.
We go to Toronto
for a few weeks.
For
for a couple of
I'm
weeks.
sure it's not gonna be a problem at work.
No, not at all. No, I'm sure we're gonna surely be
This
invited.
is our full-time job.
Surely be invited by our friends.
Absolutely.
Monty
We'll
and
have
Kelly.
we'll have to check our calendars.
Yes, but no. Besides that, like first of all, is that gonna create? That is gonna create a competition that not many people can keep up with
In terms of like production. And that
in
sort
terms
thing.
of production.
Well,
Like,
I mean, if
probably, I don't know, high rollers and Dimension
Yeah.
20 and Critical Role can compete with that level of production, but no other D&D game
Not
can.
to that extent, I agree, but again, it's like they're doing something different than what everyone else is doing. Like, yes, there is a hybrid model and there is a tabletop role-playing element, but at the same time, they're introducing the live action aspect of it
Yeah.
and televising it, airing it rather. I don't think it's something that maybe Critical Role would feel the need to compete
No, yeah.
with.
No, I'm not talking from their perspective. I'm talking from the perspective of someone like us.
Oh, okay.
That would like to, talk about role-play games and maybe play role-play games in the future. Like, obviously, that is creating a different layer of live play
Yeah.
that is not. I mean, they're literally entering a market that they own at the moment because there is
They're
nobody
the
else
only
doing
ones
that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the closest thing you can think of is maybe like a LARP. And LARPs aren't typically aired and televised because
this
it
thing-
ruins the immersion.
Yes, and also like in a LARP, you are in actual full costume of your character. In this game, they are role playing their character, but they are
Okay.
it's the player living the experience of the character.
Okay. All right.
So there is even a stronger blend
Yeah.
of the player and the character.
That's interesting.
It's super interesting, and it looks amazing, by the way. Like the visual of it, the trailer.
Yeah.
Obviously is shot in a very cinematic way
I can imagine.
because obviously one of the co-creator is a filmmaker. But yeah, it looks absolutely incredible. It's gonna air tomorrow if you are watching this video on
Yes.
the 30th, because it's going to air on Halloween
31st.
31st.
Okay.
is going to air on Halloween night on the Dungeon Dudes channel.
Yeah.
So if you want to check it out, I'm
Yeah.
sure it's gonna be a fucking banger.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be great. And by the way, if you want to see how they got to the episode 1 of Tales from Woodcreek, there is also a session 0 in which there is the Dungeon Dudes, there is Angelic Bimani, there is Ginny D, which is another D&D creator, another Canadian D&D creator. There is Will from D&D Shorts, which is British, but he went to Canada because he's very good friend of the Dungeon Dudes.
Yeah.
And actually, he was a surprise guest because in the session 0, the Dungeon Dudes did not know what was going to happen. They thought they were just gonna shot a normal session 0 in the studio, and out of nowhere Deborah Ann Woll said, okay, just grab your dice and your character sheet, let's go. And they jump into a limo, they keep playing while they are on the limo, and then they get to a boat, they go on a boat, from the boat they go on an island. Like, it's
Holy
crazy.
shit,
It's
man.
crazy. And they met like multiple guests, like Will from D&D Shorts. There is Todd Kenreck, the guy that usually interviews all the famous D&D people as a guest as well. So it was very enjoyable. It was like an hour something. Super enjoyable, very lighthearted. It's not gonna be like session 0 of that game is absolutely not the same vibe as the actual
It's basically
show.
episode 1.
But yes,
It's
yes.
basically session 1, essentially.
Yes. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it.
I can tell. Somehow I don't know what it is about, but I think I can tell. You're being very subtle about the excitement. Anyway, I mean, this is something which is...
Do you know, like, you had a dog before?
Yeah.
So imagine when you show the dog a ball, or when you show the dog the leash.
Exactly.
That's how I feel when I see something
He's
about
jump
D&D.
really high, Aros. Yeah.
That's how I feel when I see something about D&D.
You see Pepper jumping up high.
Jumping very high. And my tail goes like
wagging
crazy,
his tail and everything.
So let's get into our spooky creatures.
Before we get to it, I do have a question to ask about that.
Of course,
just between two dungeon masters kind of thing. What do you think we can take out of this? In the sense, like, okay, you've seen these people with very high production, very high budget kind of things. Like, obviously, you cannot expect, regular Johnny 2-pack around the table doing, the average Joe role player around the table doing something like this.
Yes.
But not even like regular D&D streamers and like, campaign players and that sort of thing, to be quite fucking honest. But like, is there anything that we can take out of it? In the sense, like, as DMs, can we take some of the things that they have shown us, maybe implement them in games to make them more immersive or to make them more interactable or make them more... For example, here's the thing. I'm going to a certain particular point with this. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of 3D printable gadgets for Dungeons and Dragons, like to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
Sometimes you get like dice, sometimes you get like dice towers, whatever, the usual stuff. But sometimes you get... I saw last time a dial, like a plate, a circular plate, which looked like a maze.
Okay.
With pits in it, and every pit had a number from 1 to 20. You put a metal bearing in it at the start, and then you have to navigate with increasing difficulty up to the 20. And whichever pit, essentially, the ball falls in, that will be the equivalent of your roll. Now, I disagree with something like that. Don't get me wrong. Because I don't like having the player's dexterity factor into the character's dexterity.
Yes.
Because essentially what you're doing there is, obviously, you get used to it eventually, and, you
you can learn, you can practice. I mean, to be honest, I think live on at the table, you can't really practice much.
No,
but if someone is really good at doing that specific thing, they're going to have an
like,
advantage.
for example, a lot of things, like, for example, like cryptexes.
I think we spoke about that.
We might have, but cryptexes, like, I've printed a cryptex in the past, like a Da Vinci cryptex, and like, if you have it on a table for players to use, it's one thing if they have to solve it themselves, but if they solve it in character and then you like the password, you can just quickly put it in and you open it and find a scroll, that's a lot more interactable. So like, can we take something like that, like for example props or that sort of thing? What's your position?
To be honest,
on
I
this?
like the idea of it. I like the idea of taking the props into what is the actual game.
Yeah.
Like having the, because this is the thing. At the end of the day, the goal for us as dungeon masters is the enjoyment of the
Absolutely.
players, not necessarily the enjoyment of the characters. So if
Yes,
the
I agree.
characters do not solve the mystery, and it's the player who solves the mystery outside, like above table, with either the skill of doing that or I think there is a higher level of engagement from the player side, which
It depends.
which in the story you can still narrate.
It depends, I
as
suppose.
Whatever it is, you know.
It depends. It depends on how well your players honor code, in the sense like how players respect the boundary between what their character is able versus not able to do. There will be the occasional like, I'm bad at this but I'll try it anyway, and then you succeed because like 1 in 20 chance that you do, and that's very fucking cinematic and all, you know, like someone who's really bad at acrobatics and suddenly lands a natural 20 and
Yes.
it's like, holy shit, you managed a triple somersault, you don't know how you did it, you will never do it again, kind of thing, you know. But like taking that aspect into the real world and, for example, solving a puzzle which requires the player to do is one thing, because in character also you're not going to say roll an intelligence check. Oh, okay, you realize that the clue is this.
Well, I mean, you can,
But yeah, I mean that's a little bit
that
like
happens.
Yeah, but like you're not gonna have a cryptex in game and you're gonna ask your players to roll a d20 and you say, okay, so the password is alpha, and obviously
Sure. But
so
let's say,
there's still going to be
but
like
would you
the
rather
players.
your players get stuck on that?
I think having the reality of certain players not finding all of your secrets is part of the game.
Sure. That I agree 100%.
Yeah.
But let's say you need this puzzle to open this door and continue.
Well,
the
then
game.
you're going to have to find another way.
Yes. But aren't you gonna say, okay, give me an intelligence check, let's see if you can find a clue?
Yes, of course, I would
That's
help
what
the
I'm saying.
players.
So obviously you're gonna always, like, at the end of the day, you want the story to progress, and you don't want the players to be
Yes.
frustrated. And you don't want to be
Yes.
frustrated yourself. Because obviously if the
Absolutely.
game does not continue, you
Yes, but
can't
it's-
show the cool stuff that you have prepared.
But it's also a game
later.
of dice. And lately I've been noticing it with campaign 4. Like with the way Brennan plays the game. In the sense, like, actually, we were watching episode 4 this morning.
Yes.
Like while we were doing stuff, and
By the way, Brennan opened with a fucking
That
punch in
wa-
the face.
oh my god, the cold
Spoiler.
open of
Listen,
episode
listen.
4 was so good. And I think we talked up. We might
No,
have
I was not-
predicted it.
Listen, I was not talking about. Yes, we did predict.
Uh-huh.
I was not talking about the cold open. I was talking about the fight.
Yeah, the fight as well. Like the fight. Oh my fucking god.
fight.
We're still going through it.
Is savage.
I mean, first of all, half the episode is the fight.
Savage.
But that's my point. Like he said, like listen, kind of the world, the setting is not fair, and
100%.
Yeah, and I'm coming from that point of view.
By the way, I want to add. I know we didn't had in plan to talk about Critical Role,
But
but
we're
I
all-
find out
we're obviously
something.
going to.
Obviously, as we always do.
Maybe we'll have been called, critical for critical role for.
So I find out on Reddit. Do you remember that we spoke in the last episode? We spoke about the characters having incredibly high stats.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Some of them insane stats. Some of them quite good stats. I find out how they actually rolled.
Oh.
So this is, and I should have thought about it because Brennan Lee Mulligan is a long time player and a long time dungeon master. So much so that I think he started with 2nd edition or maybe 3rd edition. But anyway, in 3rd edition, which I played when I was younger, there was an optional rules for rolling stats, which was rules made for extremely tough campaigns.
Okay.
Which the regular rules in 3rd edition for rolling stats was roll 4d6 and drop the lowest. But there is one optional rule that is roll 5d6 and drop the two lowest.
Okay.
So that on average, you're going to have slightly higher rolls.
Okay.
And this was literally made for when you as a dungeon master, you know that you're going to make a campaign that is extremely difficult. So you want your player to be good enough to survive but still have, opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
Because obviously if you give 20 in every stats,
What's the point?
Your character is not going to grow anymore.
Yeah.
But if you want your player to be resilient enough to be able to be hardly challenged, that was what the optional rule, and that's the rule. I don't know who find out and how they find out, or if it was said in some interview that I haven't. I've watched a ton of interviews from Brennan.
It does make sense.
But I think someone on Reddit read somewhere that they find out that was the rolling.
I like it.
They used.
I like it. I may use that in the future.
That's all I wanted to hear.
But
yeah,
speaking of scary stuff now.
Going back on what you were asking. I do agree with you that obviously one should always try to factor in the stats of the character.
Mhm.
But I think at the end of the day, if you have something more interactive that happens around the table, like
puzzle, cryptex,
or whatever it is, I think that makes it more enjoyable for the players, easier for the DM to also say, look, I'm gonna give you a little hint on how this works. And I think overall it makes the experience more enjoyable.
I agree with you to that
maybe
point.
a little bit slightly more meta-gamey, because obviously you're gonna use your ability or your knowledge on that. But still, if a DM presents you something physical, it's already being metagaming because it's giving it to you instead of giving it to your character.
Yeah,
so
but I mean, you are the representation of your character in the real world, absolutely. But what my point is, the way I would maybe go around it is, for example, if you have, for example, a cryptex, your character does look for the actual code which opens it in-game, and you kind of figure it out as a player, whatever, while you're playing, and then you actually input it in real life and then continue. I think that's a fair compromise, because you're not using your players' kind of like abilities rather than your characters. And that's I'm kind of a little bit big on role play in that regards. When it comes to a LARP, for example, LARP, it's a little bit easier than to implement that, because
you don't have character stats
exactly in the LARP. You either say you can do something and back it up, or you just don't do it,
or you can't do it.
Exactly. Or you have to bluff your way through it.
And at the same time, like when you sometimes you want to role play a character that is far away from what from what you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe you are not super eloquent, and you want to play a very high charisma character, or you are not the sharpest tool in the shed, and you want to play a wizard with 20 in intelligence, and obviously I don't think that anything should stop you from doing that. Or you want to play simply like a very analytical character, like someone with 20 in wisdom, but you're not a super wise person, or you don't notice so many details in real life as your character does. That should not stop you from playing your character the way you want, and should be the same in the reverse. In the sense that if your character is very aloof, you are not,
I think that is where your DM's ability comes in. Then.
I think from the
and you
from
can
the
see it
DM
also,
side,
for example, in campaign 4, Brennan randomly asks the player, for example, would you roll this for me? Would you roll this for me? Unprompted. And kind of first and foremost to keep the story rolling, and also to kind of point out what characters may or may not miss while they're playing, which I think is a good thing to do as well.
And I think a lot of that comes from his personal experience as an improv actor and teacher, because he has been an improv teacher and an improv actor. He's still an improv actor.
He was also part of College Humor.
Absolutely.
At some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember.
Before it became Dropout, he was part of College Humor.
I remember College Humor before YouTube.
But if you notice, he's always making players fail forward. Like they don't fail and get stuck on something. They fail and something else happens. They fail and something else happens. So it's a very smooth way to keep things.
It looks almost scripted.
Well, because obviously And that's something that a lot of people obviously has, commented about already in
No,
the
no, no.
past.
I'm not saying.
Already in the past.
I'm not saying
with
it is
Critical Role, but when you
scripted.
get that level of
Yeah,
performers,
exactly. That's my point. Like,
it's gonna be very easy.
it's very easy to suspect that it is scripted, but even when he rolls in front of the screen and the thing keeps going,
Yeah.
it's not scripted.
Yeah, you can.
And
you can't
it's just
control
good
the
skill.
die. Yeah.
It's just good skill.
Yeah.
So, enough fanboying about Brennan. He's becoming a very high contender to Matthew Mercer.
Well, I mean,
no,
they
but
they've always
joking
been.
aside,
They've always been.
yeah. But joking aside, I
best
mean,
duo.
incredible role players all around and incredible performers in Critical Role. I mean, that was never in question, but even more so, like watching Campaign 4, it's been incredible.
And
It's
I think
been
in
incredible.
Campaign 4 everybody is bringing their A game.
And it's insane in terms of like the high stakes, high reward kind of thing, and the way this narrative is crafted so far. Even though we are very much in the dark for most of it,
Yeah, we're
because
only
it's
on
still
episode
very
4.
early. Exactly, we still have some major ripples in the lake, man. It's some of them are insane, like Vikander's family's revelation, Noctis's family revelation, that sort of thing. Like, damn, son.
Some dangerous characters in those families.
Yeah, it's pretty horrific as well. I don't know.
So talking about horrific,
You doing just right.
Yes.
Hey.
so we have a short list of a very very famous. It's a quite short list. Come on,
It's not a very short document.
Stop,
Send me.
stop scrolling. Stop scrolling. The document is not that long.
No, I don't even. Okay, here's how confident I am
have-
about this. I'm just gonna.
Oh Jesus
close it.
Christ! He's gonna leave all the responsibility on me.
Yes.
That's not nice of
Son
him.
of a bitch. I'm in.
So we have shortlisted some very famous monsters, some very famous creatures more than monsters.
So first and foremost, when you think of Halloween,
yes,
monsters,
uh-huh.
which one comes to mind first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
Give
wait, you
us-
can't reply just yet.
Give
Jade.
us your top 3,
Yeah.
and Jade,
Jade,
as well.
which one?
Give us your top 3 Halloween
Monsters.
monsters or Halloween creatures.
Okay, vampires.
Top
Ghouls.
Ghouls.
okay.
I mean, I wouldn't consider them monsters, but they are like part and parcel of Halloween at this point. Witches, I think.
Okay, witches. So Jade.
Jade got
Sad.
two creatures that we have in our list.
Oh, witches. Witches, interesting. Like ghouls, I was not expecting ghouls. I mean, ghouls, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I
they
mean,
are
makes
horrific
sense.
creatures,
Yes.
makes sense.
Makes
you know,
sense.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we have a creature that is ghoulish. Because I included
Yeah.
one creature, I split it in kinda two. Because obviously, so our idea for this episode was to talk about famous horror movie genre.
Oh, and gargoyles.
Gargoyles. Interesting.
That's a
No, that
good-
reminds me of the animated.
Oh my god, I
series.
loved it so much. That's so good. That was
Well,
so good.
one day we have to actually talk about our like childhood animated cartoons and stuff like that. But anyway.
Oh my god, I have a cartoon from my childhood that I'm sure that nobody's gonna.
Which one?
Okay, I only know the name in Italian
Mhm.
because obviously it was on Italian TV, and I think that's the beginning of everything.
What was it called?
It was on Italia Uno,
Uh-huh.
and it was called Prince Valiant.
Oh, Prince Valiant.
Remember
Loved
Prince
it.
Valiant?
I loved it when I was
I
a
think
kid.
that was
used
the
to watch it.
beginning of everything for me. Like the first
It wasn't
introduction
Prince
to
Valiant. It was Prince Valiant.
Prince Valiant.
Prince Valiant in Italian. I remember.
That was.
I remember that as a kid.
We were very
Yeah.
young.
Yes,
we were very
yes,
very
yes,
young.
yes, yes,
Because
yes.
that's I think a cartoon from the 80s. Probably.
Yes, I think must have been something around
It's
like
like a
93,
King
94,
Arthur-
probably, something like that. Yeah, it was the
it's-
Arthurian legend,
yes.
something like that. But anyway, regardless. So yes, we've got vampires, ghouls, and sorry, I'm laughing because you said ghoulish, and I was thinking it's just one letter away from a Eastern European dish, goulash. But anyway,
Goulash.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, it's just
pretty
how
good, pretty delicious good.
that's how my brain works. So we've got vampires, ghouls, and witches and gargoyles, perhaps. Pepper.
So for me, the top 3 is obviously gonna be vampires,
I think for me
yeah.
as well. Yeah,
werewolves,
absolutely. 2 on 2.
and I would say witches probably as
Witches,
well.
yeah.
Like I say, like the typical
Yeah.
steering cauldron,
Yes.
green skin. Yes.
Macbeth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I would agree with you. I would maybe add obviously ghosts.
Ghosts.
Ghosts
yeah,
are
as well.
typical.
I mean,
Boo. What the fuck was that?
it's like a. Little ghost.
Just like
That's a little ghost sound.
that's more like the demented grandpa in a sheet, like.
That's your version of the ghost, okay? Mine was like a cute little ghost, like. Actually, they look like the Pac-Man ghosts.
Kind of,
Yeah, a little bit.
blinky and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So, vampires. Like vampires, I think we all agreed on like as the number one monster that comes up when we think of like Halloween monsters. We all agree like that was the first one we all came up with.
Yeah.
Vampires have a very storied history.
But hold on, wait. What is your top three?
So yeah, vampires,
Vampires?
werewolves, and witches or ghosts. Yeah,
Okay,
same as you
okay.
essentially. Unsurprisingly.
Unsurprisingly. I mean,
Actually, thinking of vampires, I'm a huge fan, obviously, of Bram Stoker's Dracula, which actually I have the book over there, the Penguin Classics, is just behind. You can barely see it behind George R. R. Martin, behind this book. But it's one of the books that has a cracked spine because I've read it so many times.
it's such a good
love
book.
it. I love it.
I recently listened to it as an audiobook again.
Who was the narrator?
I'm trying to remember. Was someone super famous, but it's now escaping my mind.
Stephen Fry did a couple of them as well. It was really good.
I
Stephen Fry, I
can't
think, did the
remember.
Harry Potter ones. I'm not sure.
I cannot
But anyway,
remember who was
we'll
reading it, but
find
it was
out.
someone very famous, actually.
I have a personal gripe against Dracula movies. There isn't a single fucking Dracula movie which is accurate completely to the books. Mind you, one of my favorite Dracula movies, I have two favorite Dracula movies. One of them is the one which starred Bela Lugosi, the black and white one.
So yeah, like the first
old one.
Yeah, the first
Wasn't
Dracula.
the yeah,
that's
Dracula.
one of the first Dracula.
I think it was
movies.
the first Dracula.
Dracula, yes, not the first vampire.
Not the first vampire.
Yes.
That was 1922. Nosferatu.
Yes.
No, but this was Bram Dracula. Can't remember when it. I think 1957. I think it was. I'm not sure.
Which one? Which one are you
The
talking about?
Bela Lugosi one.
Yes.
I think 1957. I'm not sure.
I think maybe it was a little bit earlier than that. I think it was
Could
in
be in the
40s.
40s. Could be 40s. But then there was also the Hammer movie, like which had Christopher Lee as Dracula and Peter Cushing as Van Helsing.
I don't think I've seen this one.
That was good. It was a little bit like, kind of almost like action movie-esque of the time. It was like 1963, I think, or 64, around the time Doctor Who and Star Trek started as well. Like very old movies as well.
So it's not black and white.
No, it was in color. But it was a Hammer movie, and like the cinematography, you can tell it's old.
What do you think of the actual Bram Stoker Dracula movie?
The one with
Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves and what's the name of the guy? Madonna.
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman.
First of all, Gary Oldman is
I love
fucking
Gary
legend.
I love Gary Oldman.
Yeah, I love Gary Oldman. I love Keanu Reeves. I didn't like that. I mean, I like the movie. It's just not. It's not Bram Stoker enough.
Well, to be honest, Bram Stoker Dracula is a series of letters. So it's really hard to transpose it into a movie.
but there is a whole narrative to it. And in the sense, like the movies, the Bela Lugosi one came as close to it as possible. They just changed the name of a character or two, which was like, why would you do that? You know, it just needed to name the right characters. That's all it was.
Sometimes they just.
I don't know why they did, but anyway, like the Bela Lugosi one and the Peter Cushing ones are my two absolute favorite Dracula movies, and so yeah, I mean when it comes to
and
vampires.
then talking about Dracula, you mentioned it before. I don't know if knowingly or not, but apparently there was an unauthorized German movie about Dracula, which is actually Nosferatu.
Nosferatu, yeah.
Yes, that was an unauthorized German version of Dracula, because they couldn't use the Dracula name, so they created
Nosferatu,
a Dracula-like creature, which kind of tackles a different side of the vampire, because obviously the Dracula vampire is the charming one, is the noble one, is the very.
We have to acknowledge, however, the origin of the vampire myth.
Yes, which
because Nosferatu
stems from the Eastern European and Balkan folklore.
But not Dracula, vampires in general. So vampires, when it comes to vampire portrayals, Nosferatu is actually the most accurate,
Closer,
the
yes.
most
It's the
accurate
closer to-
folklore
yeah.
rendition of what the mythology is. Because vampires were always thought to be these bloated creatures, kind of like expressionless, no hair, no like bald, long
Like
nails,
Nosferatu.
long teeth, kind of exactly like Nosferatu. You've probably like even if you've never heard of it or never seen it, you probably can recognize like the vampire with hands to the side, long
Yes.
claws kind of thing, and that is actually rooted in reality.
Yeah.
There was a time, I don't honestly, I don't know if you actually wrote it down
Mm-hmm.
over there now, and correct me if I'm wrong there, because you actually did the research.
I did some research.
So, unless I am mistaken, the myth of vampires comes from obviously Eastern European, but also mainland Europe as well.
Yeah.
Where basically suspectedly there were a series of live burials by mistake. People would be buried underground, and then they would be exhumed. Like the coffins would have been taken out of the ground again. They would find like bleeding faces. They would find them bloated, obviously, because they would have been dead for a
Scratch
while.
marks.
Scratch marks, long nails, because nails keep growing after you die, and hair does as well, and then eventually it falls out. So the whole myth of the vampire looking bloated,
Yeah, and
long
grotesque,
nails,
like the grotesque look. Yes.
exactly. That is
it's
rooted
the real
in fact.
root of the
Exactly.
Yeah, in fact, the Dracula that we know from Bram Stoker is inspiration from someone that had nothing to do with vampires,
Vlad
which is
Tepes.
Vlad Dracul, as
Dracul.
they call him,
Or Drac.
which
Two.
was Vlad III of Wallachia. And by the way, this is something that I discovered when I went to Romania to go and see the castles and stuff. I had no idea that the region of Transylvania was called Wallachia at the time. But for a long time dungeon master of Curse of Strahd, there is one of the towns in Curse of Strahd that is actually called Wallaki. Which
It's a
comes
callback
from
to it,
it's a callback to the original
what the Americans would
Wallachia.
call Wallachia.
yes. Wallachia.
Sorry, Americans.
We love you,
I love you.
kinda.
But yeah, I mean, so the vampire myth originates from that.
So yeah,
part.
the Bram Stoker Dracula, like this refined nobleman, this charming character,
Yes.
in complete contrast of the Nosferatu. There is this
Absolutely.
grotesque figure, like very, like almost like rat-like, like with the
Yes, with the fangs.
with the fangs.
This is true, because the original portrait of Nosferatu had the incisors sharpened and
yeah.
lengthened like a rat, as Pepe saying, while the typical vampire is the canines that are elongated.
Yes.
I cannot think of an anatomical reason why either would be more beneficial or not. I mean, typically the incisors in biology, in real life, they're used to cut,
Yeah.
while the canines are used to kind of rip.
Yes.
So it wouldn't make sense to rip someone's neck out, I suppose. But that's the mythology that we have nowadays,
Yes.
and whether it's accurate or not, it's got a certain level of, as we say, like fascino, like a certain level of
like
fascination,
yes.
to it. That I think almost like enchants everyone who wants to go into that. And
It does. To be honest,
as you can tell, I'm a huge fan of actual vampire
we
lores.
do love
Fuck!
vampires. Yes,
Stephanie Meyer.
We would
Sorry, I have
like
to
to
say
be
that.
vampires. So if there is any vampire watching, please come and get
Exactly.
us.
Please. You will be invited. You will be allowed in.
Yes, we will invite you. Talking about inviting,
Yeah.
actually, vampires and Nosferatu as well, they do have some traits in common. Both, let's say, like powers and some, let's say, detrimental abilities or weaknesses of sort. So they both seem obviously immortal. They don't age because they are dead already. They all possess supernatural strength and speed.
Yeah.
And resilience as well. Well, the most charming type, they have these powerful
hypnotic
gaze.
gaze,
Yes,
yeah.
this hypnotic gaze that they get. Some of them are have the ability to shapeshift
Yes, in
into
fact,
different creatures.
In fact, Bram Stoker's Dracula is, I believe, quoted for Dracula to turn into mist, into a swarm of bats,
Yes,
into wolves,
into wolves as well.
I think those were the main, or I'm not sure whether there was rats in it as well, but those three for sure.
Bats, wolves, and mists, 100%.
Yeah.
Some of them into shadows.
Yeah, shadows as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be an extension of like a mist kind of thing. It can be an
Exactly,
extension of
yes.
that. But yeah,
Well, they seems to have some regenerative power.
Absolutely.
Once they
And-
take damage in,
Yeah.
in some ways.
and they cannot be killed by conventional means.
Exactly, they have like very specific way by which they can be killed. They are blood dependent.
Yes. Blood dependent in the sense, yeah, they need to feed.
Yeah, they need to feed on
They're what in the scientific community we would call hemophages.
hemophages. But obviously they have a heightened ability to
Yeah.
extract nutrients
Yes,
from
yes,
the blood.
yes, absolutely.
And then they seem all to have mastery over night and darkness. Like
Yes.
they seems to be way more powerful during the late hours or night hours than during the day.
There are different renditions of the Dracula. Dracula.
Yeah, I think there is a
myth.
million different.
Yeah, but
renditions.
like even I think in the Bela Lugosi one, I think I'm not sure because obviously it's black and white and it's very difficult to discern night from day in a black and white movie because they always shot during
Yeah.
the day,
Yeah.
obviously.
We had that issue.
Yeah. So I'm not sure whether it's part of the mythology of whether it's represented that Dracula can travel during the day as long as he's covered, kind of thing. Because the first time you see Bela Lugosi in that movie is when he's wearing
comes out,
with the
yes,
hat,
yes.
and like he's the coachman.
Yes.
You know, I know that
Almost
this was,
completely covered.
yes, but it's also at like 6 p.m. in the evening, and I'm assuming
Yeah, so
like
the sun is not very high.
probably like twilight
Sundown, yeah.
or sundown.
Yeah.
So there's that. But there's also like renditions of vampires in general, like varying ones. Whether you're talking about D&D, whether you're talking about Witcher, whether you're talking about Skyrim or the Elder Scrolls, for example, and they have different approaches to vampirism.
And
Different
there are some that
ways.
sparkle.
We don't talk about those, and fuck.
Oh no, we do need to talk about those. So if you say that you like vampires and your idea of vampire is Twilight, please,
Reconsider.
yes,
I was gonna
please
say
get
something
get
else,
your
but
shit
please, you know.
together, okay?
You know that part of Rick and Morty when he's talking when Morty's talking to his sister, like, get your shit together, put all your shit in a backpack and get your shit
and get it
together.
together. Yes.
Basically put all the Twilight, the Vampire Diaries, the
Yeah.
True Blood.
Yes,
and
True
then-
Blood, Vampire Diaries. Well, mostly
to be honest,
the
True
worst one is
Blood,
Twilight.
yeah, True Blood and Vampire Diaries, they are not accurate, but
Yeah.
at least they make sense.
Yeah.
Twilight, they do not make sense. Sparkles.
I'm sure, like at some point,
Fucking
Hollywood had a
sparkles.
surplus of glitter and they need an excuse to use it.
Yes,
That must be.
yes.
I mean, do you know how far Robert Pattinson's career got swung back because of those movies?
Do you
don't
know
hear
how
of
much he
Kristen
hates
Stewart.
those movies?
Of course he does. We hated, and I had to go watch a couple of them because back then,
Yeah.
you know, when we were young, we had girlfriends and sort of thing. We had to
I
go with
had
our
a girlfriend,
girlfriends back then.
Yeah. I suffered through the entirety of
I
it.
still remember like watching it at cinema like this and thinking like from start to finish, like, what the fuck am I watching?
Listen, by the way, I was almost going to forget one of my favorite rendition of Dracula.
Which one? Castlevania.
Nah, I mean that's a
Castlevania's a
pretty
good
good
one.
it's a pretty good rendition.
It's
to be
a good
honest.
one. It's a good one.
No, I was gonna talk one of my guilty pleasures.
Which one?
Is the Hugh Jackman Van Helsing movie.
Van Helsing. Oh, okay. So as far
Now
as
this episode has
okay.
become a Van Helsing
Yeah.
episode. Hello, welcome to the second part of the episode, which is just us talking about Hugh
Fuck
Jackman Van
Session 1.
Helsing.
Today we're talking about Van Helsing. Okay, so that was the first vampire movie I watched in my life.
Really?
Yes. It came out back when I was like 12, 13, something around that time, I think.
Okay.
Like 2003, 2004, something around
Yes.
that time. And
After I'm gonna tell you what's my first vampire movie.
and
that
it
I
was,
watched.
first and foremost, it was a really cool movie. And it was a bad movie, but it was really cool. You have to admit, seeing Hugh Jackman with an automatic crossbow. Like,
Listen, I said it's my guilty pleasure because I know it's a little bit corny.
it
as
is
a movie.
corny, but Kate
But
Beckinsale, man.
it's
Come
so-
on, Kate
listen,
Beckinsale.
it's a fun fucking movie. It's you watch it
is.
and you enjoy from beginning to end. The Frankenstein monster is super cool.
Yes.
The Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in the beginning, It's
Yes,
insane.
the scene in black and white. You're
It's
absolutely
so
right.
good.
Victor.
In general, the overall story of the movie,
I love that movie.
it's a pretty good story. It's not a bad
is.
story. It's a little bit corny because, I mean, first of all, it came out in an age where most movies from that age are corny as fuck if you watch them today.
And also the story doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, it was a stupid story. It was
it's
like,
an adaptation of,
it's like,
something.
come
But-
on. It was
but
very
it's okay.
much.
It's okay. It's a
and
fun
at some
movie
point
to
of it
watch.
was very much like Deus Ex Machina kind of
Yeah,
thing.
a little bit, yeah.
Plot armor kind
Yeah.
of thing. But two things, like Kate
Kate
Beckinsale.
Beckinsale.
I
Jesus.
loved her.
She's
obviously.
gorgeous in that movie.
They had that movie had everything. They had the Frankenstein monster. It didn't have
Werewolf?
Dr. Jekyll. It didn't have Dr. Jekyll.
Dr.
in it.
Jekyll and
No,
Mr.
no, no.
Hyde. In the
There
very
wasn't.
beginning, yes.
Oh yes, in Paris.
He goes in Paris.
Yeah, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Sorry,
Actually,
I forgot about that.
on the
In Paris, on the Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
And through the rose window.
Yes.
Yeah. The fact that the Vatican has a secret monster hunting.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love the idea.
Section.
I love the idea.
Now,
of that.
as a raging atheist myself, I love the idea that
Yeah.
the Vatican has a monster hunting
That's
division. I would support
incredible.
it entirely. It had the Frankenstein monster. We said these vampires had werewolves.
Werewolf.
One of the best renditions
Of
of
the
werewolf aesthetics.
Werewolf transformation.
When I think werewolves, that is what I think.
Listen, that scene in which the brother of Kate Beckinsale turns from werewolf
The
into
Valerios.
human and then human to werewolf again in the library.
When he kind of climbs against the wall. Oh my
Incredible. Listen, so good.
God.
Okay. So,
Chill, man, and it's not the AC.
yes, it's definitely not the AC, but I'm having
Actually,
chills
can
as
we
well.
turn it off a little bit because it's over here. It's over
Just,
here. Yeah, thank you.
just lower it. I mean, as in put it
Give it a
higher.
break or something, yeah.
Less cold.
Because I'm getting chilled just talking about this, man.
yes.
I love the Van Helsing. It's not even a guilty pleasure, just a pleasure to watch.
To me, it's a guilty pleasure because I know
Hugh
it's
Jackman,
a
if you're seeing this.
corny as fuck movie, but yeah.
we
And
love
also
him.
Hugh Jackman. Come on,
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman. How
And
can
there
you
was
not
also
love
like,
the guy?
what was the actor's name? Like the one who played Faramir as well.
Yes,
He was the brother.
Yes.
Like I still remember the line when I was
Well,
a
I mean,
kid. I
I'm
loved
sure.
it.
I'm sure that
When he-
Boromir would have done it better.
Yeah. I mean, if there was Sean Bean in it, he would have died, for sure. It was the line when he said, "You're a monk. You shouldn't swear," and he says, "I'm a friar, and I can swear all I like."
Yes.
Damn it!
Yes. I had forgotten about that.
When he's showing him like he's under the Vatican, showing him all the different
the weapons and the stuff.
like
yes.
and then they went to Budapest with the
Yes.
vampire ball.
So good. That vampire ball. That scene in which they're dancing in front of the mirror and she's suspended
Oh my
in the air
God,
because the
man.
vampire does not
That was
reflect.
so clever.
Come on.
And you see
Come on.
and you see her alone in the whole
Yeah,
hall.
the whole thing is empty and you understand that they're all vampires. So good. The explosion of the
sun grenade or whatever it was,
the UV ray grenade. Come on. That movie is fantastic. If you have never watched the Van Helsing movie with Hugh Jackman, please do yourself a favor. Switch your brain off for 1 hour and a half and watch it because it's a super fun movie.
Exactly. And speaking of Kate Beckinsale, right after that, go watch the Underworld movies as well.
Those are
because
pretty good.
Those
as
are
well.
really
Those are
good
pretty
modern
movies,
vampire
yes.
movies, and
Even though
they do take some of the mythology
Yes,
away from
yes.
it, but for the most part,
I would say as a modern rendition of vampires and stuff, I like Blade.
Blade is
I like
amazing.
Blade more than Underworld.
I like Underworld more because of Kate Beckinsale. probably,
Yeah, I know, but Blade is such a
And
good trilogy.
also, what the hell is his? I keep forgetting his name. He was also in Good Omens. Not 10, in the other one.
Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen. He was Lucian in Underworld, the leader of the werewolves. I know. He was one of the conclave or whatever the fuck it was.
The noble ones.
The noble ones.
Yeah, I understood this.
To be fair, whatever he does it right.
Yeah.
Like Michael Sheen, whatever Michael Sheen does, Michael Sheen just does it excellently.
Yeah.
I love Michael Sheen. He was also Zeus in Tron Legacy. Sorry, we're deviating a lot, but we just watched Tron Ares last weekend.
Okay.
I mean, that's why. Like, anyway, Michael Sheen, I love you.
So yeah, vampires. Weaknesses.
Sunlight.
Sunlight, holy symbols or
Holy
sacred
symbols.
ground.
Yeah.
Wooden stakes to the heart.
Wooden stakes to the heart. Also, not sleeping on their own earth.
Not sleeping on their heart, not sleeping in their own coffin. I mean,
Not
more than
necess-
the coffin
it's
is
the
the
earth.
literal ground. Yes,
The ground. In fact, that is why, like in Bram Stoker's Dracula, and
gets
there's
shipped.
actually a LARP which is called Voyage of the, I can't remember what the ship was called. I can't remember. I remember
Oh,
it.
I understood.
The ship of
They did a movie recently about
yes,
it.
and they did a
did
movie as well.
recently about it.
I can't remember the name. I just saw it yesterday.
Yeah, the name of
Anyway,
it's the name of the boat.
Demeter. The Demeter.
Aha, the Demeter. Yes, yes.
Voyage of the Demeter. There's also a
Yes.
LARP about that.
It's a really good movie, actually. I watched parts of it.
They shipped crates of soil from
Soil,
Transylvania
yes.
so that Dracula could sleep on it
Yes.
while he was
And actually,
in London.
Dracula.
While he was in
I think in the
England.
movie Dracula is on the boat.
And even in the books, he's actually in the boat.
Yeah, because
And the
obviously
books.
for the
Yeah.
whole duration he had to stay
Yeah, it was
with
like
the ground.
weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why Jonathan Harkness actually went there to
Also,
negotiate.
decapitation is not a way to kill a vampire, but you can actually, let's say, put him in stasis,
Yeah.
kind of. And it's the same as the stake in the heart. The stake in the heart does not kill them necessarily, but kinda lock them for a while.
Yeah,
And it's the same with the decapitation. Running water.
running water.
Because obviously running water represents like the purity and
Yes.
the cleanliness of running water is always clear.
Here's the thing, like Dracula was always like we always see Dracula as like a vampire, but in reality back then the
Yeah, it's
mythology of it was associated with decay,
Yes.
disease, death kind of thing. So still
Is
water,
the representation of corruption in general.
Exactly.
Because this is the thing.
Putrefaction, yeah.
The Nosferatu represents more the physical corruption.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the more charming vampire is the moral corruption.
Exactly,
that
exactly,
he imposes over
Exactly.
the others. Garlic and silver.
Here's the thing about garlic. It's not actual garlic. It's not the garlic
Itself.
It's not the garlic itself. It's the garlic flowers.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, in Dracula and Bram Stoker one, they used to put a garland of garlic flowers
Yes.
around Mina's,
Yes, around the neck.
Lucy's neck,
Yes.
and eventually Mina as well.
And apparently that comes from the folk remedies against evil and
Yeah.
diseases.
Yeah,
They used to
yeah,
use
garlic. Garlic
as,
was a very potent
exactly,
remedy at
exactly.
the time, anti-inflammatory.
And
that sort of thing.
silver as well, because silver apparently represents
Purity and holiness, because
Yes.
first and foremost, so two things. That's actually tied to why vampires don't have reflections. Did you know that?
Tell us
So
about it.
basically, let's talk about silver first and foremost. Silver has prevented vampires from changing shape.
Yes.
So if
Not only vampires.
or even like
Werewolves.
shapeshifters in general.
Yeah, shapeshifter.
So silver, like before mirrors, they used to be like a silver
made of-
foil,
yeah.
made of silver
Made
foil.
of metal, yes.
Exactly. So, strictly speaking, if you were to have a vampire around nowadays, you would not be able to not see his reflection. You would be able to see his reflection in the mirror because nowadays they're made with aluminum, not with silver. And aluminum isn't as pure and holy, unfortunately. But silver is it's not just because it was thought of to be like this pure holy substance. It was more about the fact that, for example, mirrors they were made of silver, so they did not
Yeah,
reflect
they
evil.
don't reflect on the silver.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
Now that you think about it.
So, for example, if I were to build, say, a vampire manor, I would make sure that all his mirrors were made of bronze.
So that nobody would realize.
Mm.
Actually, there is an incredibly beautiful piece of art in the Curse of Strahd books, which is, I think, the official imagery of Strahd Bonzarovich, which, by the way, is the counterpart of Dracula in the D&D universe, in the D&D multiverse, actually, in which he's holding a cup
Chalice, on the
right
throne.
right next to a mirror.
Oh,
And
okay.
in the mirror, you can only see the cup.
Oh, that's cool. That's
It's a
cool.
very good, very, very good.
I love
art.
the whole depiction of it. Oh, there's also some of the sillier mythologies of vampires as well. Like for example, they have to stop and count all the things that have been dropped to the floor.
That's actually something that I found out today. It's an actual, not a disease, like a compulsion.
Yeah,
kind
it's a
of.
compulsion.
It's called arithmomania.
Arithmomania.
Yes, which is the compulsion of having to count small things.
Yeah.
So basically, it's in the folklore. If you threw rice or grains or salt at a vampire, you would have time to escape it because it would have to stop and count one by one.
I'm imagining like a
the
bag of
grains.
rice and it's a vampire coming and
Can you
just
imagine?
you're like dead stared and you just empty the bag.
Like, no, you found my weakness. Yeah, and obviously another weakness is the invitation rule.
And yes, the
Because they
invitation, yeah.
can't enter places where they have not been invited.
Exactly. However, once they have been invited, they can also go in through even locked doors through the gaps.
Yeah.
So one of the
That's
things
mixed.
that Van Helsing did to protect Mina Harker and Lucy Westenra in the books as well. He actually protected Lucy, not Mina. Mina came later on, but Lucy. He also took holy wafer. He crumbled it into a paste and mixed it with water and sealed the gaps around the windows and the door. It was as a way to stop him from entering, because obviously he could turn into mist, could turn into vapor.
Yes.
And
And once he was invited.
cracks.
And this is the thing, imagine having the power of charming people just by looking at them.
Yeah.
It's gonna be incredibly easy for you to be invited into their place. Once
Exactly.
you charmed them.
Exactly.
So-
And in fact, Lucy was charmed by Dracula
Yeah.
in her sleep.
Yeah.
And she opened the window for him.
Voluntarily,
Willingly.
yeah.
Willingly.
So in D&D, obviously we have multiple creatures
Yeah.
that represents vampires.
We have vampires, we have Nosferatu as well.
We have Nosferatu as well.
Nosferatu,
So the Nosferatu came out a few years back
Yes, I think it was
in
past editions as well. I think second edition, I think it was a Nosferatu as well.
No, yeah, I'm talking current edition,
Oh,
fifth
okay, sorry.
edition.
Yeah.
It has come out in the book Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, with a full stat block, CR8. Super interesting creature. I think so far is one of my favorite vampire creatures. Well, I say blood sucking creatures.
Yeah.
Because like the mechanics of it are super interesting. Meanwhile, to be honest, at least we're talking 2014 fifth edition. The vampire stat block was a bit bland in the
Yes.
sense that was kind of generic.
Yes, but I think it's also relied on the fact that vampires, the charm component of them.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you can actually hear the fireworks going off in the background. Probably not. But there's vampires. There's
I mean,
vampires.
we-
There's fireworks off.
Well, we're in Malta, so
Yeah.
Wherever.
So where was I with regards to vampires? Yeah, I think that's relied heavily on the fact that vampires, rather than a combative creature, they tend to be craftier creatures. They survive for like hundreds and hundreds of years, and typically they don't do so just by being combative.
Yeah.
Typically they I was reading lately. So okay, so I'm working on a bestiary for my Witcher character, like a Witcher's bestiary essentially.
Okay.
I was doing some research on every creature, and one of them was the high vampire. And in Witcher universe, there's a whole like lesser vampires, higher vampires,
And actually, that's something we might want to explore.
someday in the future.
In the
But
future.
one of the things that kind of struck me was like, okay, so vampires are the creatures you would never realize they're part of the community, because they tend to sustain themselves on the society around them.
Yeah.
In the sense, they would tend to be like very affluent people because they've had long years to gather wealth.
To
They
accumulate
would
that wealth.
exactly. They would, for example, be bankers or vintners or like owners of property, and you never kind of like see them out very often.
Yeah.
Recluses, kind of things. Never the kind of vampire that kind of they're out on the front lines hacking people, kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
So
for,
I
for
think-
those
I
they would have like minions.
Exactly,
In
thralls,
fact, in
thralls.
fifth edition, like in 2024
Mm-hmm.
edition, they actually made a new creature of the vampire family.
Yeah.
Which is the vampire familiar, which is
Exactly.
actually not an undead. It's a
Yeah,
human. It's a humanoid.
essentially a thrall.
Yeah,
essentially.
it's basically someone who aspires to become a
So
vampire.
exactly. So here's the thing. I would like to ask you now, as our local expert on vampires in D&D.
Okay.
How can one become a vampire?
Well, so in
Because there are
D&D,
different kinds of mythologies.
yeah, of course. So in D&D, theoretically, you must be killed by, or at least this is the interpretation I give to the rules, because
Yeah.
the rules are not. There isn't a process, at least in fifth edition. There was in previous editions. In third edition, there was a way to actually turn into a vampire as a playable character. In fifth edition, at least in the official Wizard of the Coast books, there isn't a way to become a playing character vampire. There are, for example, in the Ghostfire Gaming books that are also published on D&D Beyond, but they're not official Wizard
Yeah,
of the Coast
yeah.
publishing things. There are transformations, which allows you to become a lich, allows you to become a werewolf, allows you to become a vampire. But in the D&D books, there isn't a way to play a character that is a vampire. How you become a vampire? So you have to be slain by the vampire. The vampire has to drink from your blood, and before you die, the vampire has to offer you its blood. So your vampire patron has to cut himself and offer you blood for you to drink. After that, you would die, you would be buried, and 24 hours after, you would come back as a vampire, at least as a player.
Yeah.
Or at least that's the process that I would go through if a player wants to play a vampire. Because officially by the rules, if you are killed by the vampire bite, you come back 24 hours after as a vampire spawn, but at that point you are an NPC.
Exactly.
You are not a player anymore.
Exactly.
So you are gone.
Exactly.
That's
interesting.
You turn.
And there's different kind of approaches to this mythology. Like, for example, if let's call it the arch vampire is slain, all its underlings die as well. There's the mythology where they are liberated.
They are free, yeah.
There's the mythology,
in the end.
There's the mythology where they go feral, because it's not like a hive mind kind of thing, but like they're currently uncontrolled by their former master kind of thing. Like, there are all different approaches to it, and I don't know which one I like best. I think I would go for your approach as well. It seems more structured as well, and more.
It is something that I had a lot of time to think about.
Yes, and more. It calls down. It's more folkloric.
I think so. I think it gives a little
ritual
bit of
it all.
meaning, to the and to be honest, I would probably also give like a series of like physical trial to see if you can actually survive the transformation.
Yeah,
I would do the same for werewolf. In D&D, there isn't really a way to become a werewolf. There is a way to be affected by lycanthropy, but then at that point, you just turn into an NPC under the DM control.
Yeah.
But I would definitely allow my players, if the opportunity arises.
Isn't there a blood hunter?
There is a
the blood hunter ones. Yeah.
But in again, that's first of all not an official-ish class. To be honest, I like the concept of that a lot.
I don't like the fact that it's tied specifically to a blood hunter. I see why it's a blood hunter, but I don't like the fact that it's tied specifically to it.
I think that would be, in my opinion, it would be tied more to the species than to the class.
Yeah.
But I understand that mechanically it works better, especially in the context of the Blood Hunter. But that's why I like a lot the Ghostfire Gaming. What is it called? Like Holo. I don't remember the name of the setting. The Ghostfire Gaming has published through D&D Beyond. But they do have a set of transformation which allows you to become a fiend, a seraph. So if you want to become like a devil or a celestial, vampire,
werewolf,
a werewolf, a lich, a fae.
Okay, that's interesting.
And there is also something that is like these like body horror monster,
like an aberration,
like an aberration kind of.
Interesting. I like
the transformation. They're so talking about aberrations and creatures from the great beyond,
the great dark void between the stars.
But those transformations are so good because it literally scales with your level. And there are like degrees of transformation, and there are choices and sacrifice that you have to make, because every level you have like a boon and you get a detrimental property that is tied to the transformation. So for example, for the vampire, you become obviously dependent from the blood, and then you become stronger or faster, or you can feed on people. For the werewolf, you get a transformation into hybrid and then a transformation into the full animal. The
hybrid is the coolest form.
The hybrid is and also you can decide like which level of control you want to have over your
Yeah.
transformation. If you want to be more feral, or if you want to be
Yeah.
like, more
So,
able to
yeah.
control it.
Yeah.
For the fiend, for example, you can actually make contracts with
That's cool. That's cool
with
with NPCs,
humanoids. And based on the contract that you can get different powers. But for example, if you die, your soul is immediately funneled to to hell.
Uh-huh.
You can't be revived anymore because your
Okay.
soul is forfeit.
It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
You need to find a way out of hell again.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
It's,
Very interesting
it's super
concept.
cool.
Gets the creative gears rolling.
Oh my god, they're
But-
incredible.
Moving on, just a random question. Like,
Yes.
if dwarves were to become, or gnomes to become lycanthropes, would they be like gnomish werewolves?
say-
Would you be able to kick them off? Or
I
maybe
would say
would
probably
you be able to put a leash on them and domesticate them?
a Chihuahua werewolf. Wow.
Jay
So
just
Jay
imagine-
just said, I'm imagining a Chihuahua werewolf. Yeah, just turn into like a baby wolf. No, to be honest, I would
Oh
say
my god, man. It's like 50% tremble, 50% hate. Like,
yes. Oh my god, that's insane. That's an insane idea.
Like Chihuahuas have
Oh my
personality already,
Yeah,
or
of the werewolf. Yes. They just lack
this
the
reminds
power
me-
of it. But
This
yes.
reminds me of a species concept I saw a few years ago, and there was someone creating like these 3D models of them. I think they were called caniforms. I think they were like centaurs, but with dog bodies, human torsos, and dog heads. And like there were like some really cool ones, like with the German Shepherd, like Regal, the
And then there
Doberman
is the
one, and then there was
Chihuahua.
like the Chihuahua, which was like tiny, and they were tiny, tongue to the
Crazy.
side. And,
Crazy.
yeah, caniforms is something I always wanted to introduce in my D&D campaigns, but
Please
never
don't.
found the heart
Please
to
do not.
actually do that.
Please do not.
Maybe. Anyway,
No, something that I wanted to mention is that I think that as a werewolf, like the hybrid form maybe would be smaller than, I would say not small sides, but maybe like
Yeah,
on
I
the
think it would
medium
still be
sides, like
larger.
pushing short. But I think that then like the full wolf size would just be the full wolf size.
you wouldn't think it's like
Yeah,
a
I
small,
don't
like
think it's a
like
small
a
wolf.
1 foot long grown wolf kind
Nah,
of thing.
You're still a fucking creature of the night. So I don't think that's gonna apply. But you know where that applies apparently? Into the ceremorphosis.
Oh yes, of course. Because okay, so first and foremost, Thermophos. We should. Why didn't we talk
I was
about
gonna-
mind flayers for Halloween? That's amazing.
Well, that's the thing, because they're not classical, movie
No.
monsters. That's why we didn't choose
I
them.
have so much to
Yeah,
say about
that's why we didn't
Thermorphosis.
choose
I
them.
researched this subject so intensely in the past few years, for my own education, of
Yeah,
course.
that's
Of
that's
course.
what we do. We accumulate a
Yeah.
huge amount of useless information.
Yeah. So here's the thing with ceremorphosis. Ceremorphosis, for those of you who don't know, is the process by which typically human or elf, but typically human, turns into a mind flayer, or as we know it, illithid. Essentially, the tadpole.
Yes.
The tadpole is called the.
Tadpole.
No, it's not just a, it's got a name for it, but it's not a. Anyway, I'll remember it. Anyway, the tadpole actually burrows behind your
Yes,
eyes,
into your eyes, into your
goes
brain.
into your brain, and then morphs your brain and your biology
Slowly
slowly
into-
over days into what is known as a mind flayer.
Mind flayer.
But gnomes and dwarves, especially, but gnomes especially,
Gnomes.
are considered impure
Particularly,
creatures.
yes.
And gnomes can create very small versions of mind flayers, like
Yes.
very like chibi versions of
which
mind
was
flayer
which
with
was
large
actually
heads.
made into a stat block.
Exactly, there is.
I think there is a stat block in I think it's Rime of the Frost Maiden,
I
in which they published
so. They're very
the
comical.
gnome.
They look
Yeah,
very
they look
comical.
ridiculous. They look cute as fuck.
Yeah, mind flare gnome. What are they called?
I'm trying to remember, but if
Anyway,
you want, I can check.
Essentially, since they are impure creatures, the process of ceremorphosis doesn't complete entirely well. So they look like short, basically tiny mind flares kind of
Yes.
thing with large heads. It's funny. It's honestly funny. But there are also some terrifying ceremorphosis outcomes. For example, when it comes to dragons, like Jesus Christ, like the dragon that is implanted with tadpole is insane.
And the art on the book
The art on the book is
is
horrific.
horrifying.
And also,
And the breath weapon
yeah, the breath weapon is just literally like tadpoles.
is tadpoles.
Tadpoles and acid.
Yes.
There's also like when the tadpoles aren't implanted in time, they start eating each other. And then they grow into a creature which mind flayers actually hunt because it's too dangerous even for the
It
hive.
becomes a huge
Yeah,
worm,
what is
like
it
a
called?
gigantic worm.
What is it
I
called?
can't remember the name right now.
Mind
but,
worm, I think it's called something like that. I can't remember, but anyway, it's there.
It's like a huge gigantic
I
creature.
have to look it up, but I mean, it's
I was
something
trying to
insane.
find it on D&D Beyond, but I couldn't find
There
it.
are some insane Ceramorphose creatures, like Mind Flayer creatures, are insane. So, moving on, because otherwise we'll get hung up on this. Let's talk about werewolves.
So let's talk about werewolf. We talked quite a lot already
Yes.
about werewolf.
Werewolves.
But yeah, so werewolf, basically they stem from one of the most ancient fear of men, which was the fear of wild creatures.
Exactly.
Of the darkness of the forest, these creature that would hunt us
Rather than us hunt it.
exactly. And also is like these loss of control into savagery.
Exactly, the feral nature of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So in ancients, in more ancient myths, it was usually some sort of malediction, some sort of curse,
a curse.
that was placed on people that would be,
That is interesting.
and that is related to something that I'm sure you would understand as a huge Witcher expert and fan, because it stems from the fear of cannibalism.
Yeah. So, werewolves, in general, to become a werewolf, you need to be bitten by a werewolf. And that way you become a feral creature yourself.
That consumes flesh.
Sometimes it is with the next night, sometimes it is with the next full moon.
Yes.
Like if you're watching the Van Helsing movie with Hugh Jackman, it's the next full moon, and it's like this whole thing. Or, if you're watching Underworld, it's with the blood.
Yes.
It's this whole thing. So, I personally subscribe to lycanthropes in general, werewolves among them, to be sentient, in control creatures, being able to lose themselves in the fury of the onslaught or whatever.
So since the very beginning,
Yeah.
so you think that when someone turns into a werewolf, they immediately know how to control it?
It depends on the narrative that I'm spinning at the time, but let's say maybe they are feral for the first time and then eventually kind of regain control a little bit or something. There are some narratives which are woven which say that once a werewolf becomes a werewolf, it never morphs back into a human. It remains a werewolf. Those are the feral ones, so to speak. If you're talking about the Witcher narrative, for example, there are various ways to become a werewolf. You can be bitten by a werewolf. You can be cursed into becoming a werewolf. You can inherit being a werewolf from your parents. If your parents are werewolves,
that makes sense.
you can become a werewolf yourself.
I think that's the same for Dungeons and Dragons.
Because lycanthropes in the
kind
end,
of like a pure blood.
Lycanthropes in the end, they kind of
werewolf.
have agency, to a certain extent, and they also have alignment.
They do have an alignment.
So-
I mean, they used to. They
In
still do,
2014,
but
yeah.
it was actually the kind of werewolf that you would turn into would be dictated either by your alignment or by the creature that turned you.
Yeah, exactly. Like for
'Cause
example, I
usually,
remember
like,
werebears were good. Yeah.
aligned creature. Meanwhile, were ravens as well. They were good aligned creatures. Meanwhile, were rats, were boars, were wolf, were tigers.
Were tigers.
They were all evil aligned.
Evil or neutral, I think there were some of
creatures.
them. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I mean the point is like there is some sort of agency and sentience behind them, so they can either turn back into humans or they can choose to be hybrid forms. Or
And they
full
do have,
forms,
they do have the choice of
Yeah.
turning into. Even though, for
Yeah.
example, in my case as a dungeon master, I had one character in the past that wanted to turn into a werewolf. I gave her the opportunity to, because her backstory was related to, like, she was a ranger hunter that had lost her family to an attack of werewolf,
So
and she was never turned into. But then during the game, while she was trying to hunt these werewolves, she got turned into a werewolf. So in that context, for example, I gave a choice also to the werewolf if they wanted to turn someone or not.
okay.
Because I don't think, this is the thing, I don't think that werewolf, like the environment of the werewolf has to be sustainable. If you
Yes.
turn everyone into a werewolf, you can't hunt anymore.
Yeah.
So you have to keep
Yeah.
the pack.
Sustainability. Yeah.
Exactly. You
Same
have
as
to keep the pack.
vampires. Same as the vampires we
exactly.
said. You
You
can't
can't turn everybody into a vampire.
Otherwise, you have no
there's
one to feed.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So from in that sense, even the most feral of the werewolves, which were the one in control of the pack in that context, they were like, no, let's keep these. And they actually had a very brutal way of turning people into werewolves, because they were kind of they were not turning adults into werewolves. They were kidnapping children and making them fight each other.
Okay.
And the one who would survive, they would turn into a young werewolf to grow it into the pack. So it was a quite the extreme way of maintaining the healthy pack, kind of. I mean, in their point of view.
I mean, there are a lot of different renditions of werewolves in general. I mean, I do subscribe to the one, as I said, where I like the Witcher model, where there are like different ways to become a werewolf rather than just being bitten.
Yeah.
I
love the
maybe
cursed
not the
one.
cursed.
I like the curse.
I don't like the cursed one in terms of D&D. I like it in the Witcher setting because it's very grim, very dark, and like anybody can curse anybody there. Like you just pay someone to do it for them, and you curse.
And someone get cursed.
And suddenly, like you have to wonder why your great grandfather used to jump off cliffs or whatever. Something stupid. But in D&D, like I think being cursed into a werewolf, I mean, I can see it work. I'm not too fond of it. Let's put it this way. I like the traditional kind of you get bitten or you're an inherited werewolf.
But I like the... I have a personal theory, which is unconfirmed, but it's something that I enjoy. I would love to see that in a D&D game. You know Beast from Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah.
Getting turned into a werewolf like Beast got turned into Beast.
Because of hubris.
Because you were because you were an asshole to the wrong person.
Yeah.
But obviously Beast is not really a creature. It's just a whatever monster. Yeah, cursed monster. I would love to see someone being turned into a werewolf because they would love
to see someone being turned into candelabrum.
Well, that would be fun.
Or a clock.
Let's not talk about Lumiere because he's my favorite character ever.
Yeah, Lumiere, like
every Disney movie.
And as much as I hated the live action version of Beauty and the Beast, I'm sorry, but Lumiere was great.
Yeah, Lumiere is always great. Lumiere is always great.
I think that one was Ewan McGregor, no? Ewan McGregor, and who was Cogsworth?
The clock, yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Was it Ian McKellen? Ian McKellen was Cogsworth.
Yes.
I remember watching it. I went to watch it in the cinema, that one, I remember.
To be honest, I like the visual of it.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy any of the live action Disney.
Yeah, me too.
movies.
But
But aesthetically, it really looks like Beauty and the Beast.
It did.
The movie. Like the aesthetic of it was great.
very much France.
Yeah. I mean that France.
Yeah, that France.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway,
so there is one thing that I want to speak about: the D&D werewolf, because this is my favorite creature ever published in 5th edition. It's a werewolf, but it's not the classic werewolf. It was also published into Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, and it's the Loup-garou. So the Loup-garou, which is the French name for werewolf, but the Loup-garou,
that was my 11-year-old email.
the Loup-garou
It's true. So cringe, man.
is actually a CR13 creature, so it's much stronger than any other werewolf that was published in 5th edition, and it actually have a perfect mechanic built in, like a mechanic that goes directly into storytelling.
Okay.
Because being a much stronger werewolf obviously will survive much easier than any other werewolf.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that builds into the story, because if you get turned into a werewolf by the Loup-Garou, you can't be unturned until you kill the werewolf, the Loup-Garou that turned you into a werewolf.
Interesting.
And then you have to perform a ritual that is described in the
Understand.
Loup-Garou stat block in order to be turned into a human again.
That is incredibly interesting.
That is the best stat block. I don't want to say the best, but I want to say one of my
really good
favorites.
hook.
Yes, because there is a clear mechanic that goes perfectly into storytelling if someone wants to become a werewolf.
That is really, really good.
It's
I like
such a good way of building creature. And listen, they did it for a lot of monsters in Varricten's Guide to Ravenloft. We need to take whoever wrote those stat blocks, pick them, and put them to do all the stat blocks for next books, please.
Absolutely.
Please. Because those are so good.
Yeah.
Those
I
are
like it.
so good.
And, I mean, anything which can drive the narrative of campaign is
Exactly.
amazing for
And
me.
especially when you make a clear mechanic, because there is a ton of creatures that have mechanics attached to them. But sometimes the mechanic does not really match with the storytelling. And in this case, it gives literally gives you, okay, you want a lycanthrope character? Here you go. This is the story that you want to tell.
Yeah.
This is the way in which you can tell your story. It's incredible. It's my favorite creature of 5th edition.
So, shall we talk about one last creature and then wrap things up?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you which one I have prepared, and I'm gonna let you choose.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got the mummy.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the witches, and I've got the Frankenstein monster. Now, I can tell you from the D&D standpoint, the Frankenstein monster is maybe the least interesting D&D creature.
Yes.
But it's very interesting as
Lore-wise.
narrative, lore-wise.
Lore-wise.
Meanwhile, the mummy is probably lore-wise the least interesting to talk about, even though we could talk about the mummy movie, which is one of the...
Ben Fraser.
Yes, please.
Yeah, the old one. The old ones. Yeah.
But the creature, like, that's another creature that has a mechanic that goes perfectly.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
And then obviously there is
the witches.
The witches are the hags.
Yeah,
so
witches are
everyone
hags.
loves hags.
I think, tell you what, let's talk about the Frankensteins, because
Okay.
there isn't an actual Frankenstein monster. It's not called Frankenstein monster in D&D.
Yeah, actually, it's not called,
Yeah.
obviously, not Frank, because obviously Frankenstein is Dr. Frankenstein.
Exactly.
Then the monster is called Frankenstein monster, but it's literally a flesh golem.
Exactly, a flash golem. And that's what I wanted to highlight, actually, like, for people to ask, like, where's Frankenstein in the books? It's the flash golem, guys.
Yeah, because
You can buy him from the butcher.
Yeah, literally.
Stitch
No,
him together.
Please don't. Please don't ask for human parts. at
Use the
match.
Stone of Night song.
Spoilers.
I don't know what happens. They just go in.
Yeah. No, but so the Frankenstein monster in D&D is represented
by
the flesh golem, because it's literally a flesh golem.
It's interesting because I was actually introduced to the concept of flesh golems. I was introduced well before I got into D&D myself.
Okay.
I was introduced in Warcraft 3.
Okay.
So Warcraft 3 in the campaign, when the campaign starts, apart from the prologue, you start with the human campaign where you're trying to fight the cult of the damned, which are poisoning peasants and raising them as zombies and that sort of thing. And one of the first bosses you fight is an abomination, which is basically a flesh golem, stitched from different corpses and brought to life through necromancy.
Yes.
And that's how I was introduced to the concept of flesh golems, even though at the time we had abominations. We call them abominations on Warcraft 3. And just in case you didn't realize from the background, stuff like that, I'm a huge Warcraft nerd.
Yeah. I think we mentioned
I think
it.
we may have mentioned it. in the
Barely
past.
mentioned it.
Possibly.
A few times.
Jesus Christ, I'm spending so many hours playing Warcraft lately. They've got a new event and I'm just...
Well,
That's bad.
ghosts.
That's a bad.
Ghosts are dropping stuff from the.
That
from the
bat
bed.
has been falling for 2 days, by the way.
Yes.
But anyway.
Can I get it?
Yeah, of course. And that one.
Oh, wow, it looks like a batarang a little bit.
Yeah. It's a 3D printed bat.
So wait, can I?
Yeah, you can take it.
Can I put it
You
there?
can also have one of the ghosts.
Can I put it there? I just want to put it there.
Yeah, you can
Not the
put.
ghost.
You can
We
have
should
the
have
ghost
done
as well.
this since the very beginning of the episode. Why,
Yeah, but
why have I thought about this
because
just now?
we're not professionals at this yet.
We'll never
Maybe
be.
well,
We'll never
actually
be.
we might have a team next year, but we'll talk about next year when next year comes. Don't want to make any false promises.
So the Frankenstein monster,
Yeah.
it's apart from the D&D lore, which kind of ties a little bit. I mean, the Flesh Golem in D&D ties a little bit in the mechanics with the real actual Frankenstein monster. But obviously, Flesh Golem in D&D, they are raised with necromancy,
Yes.
even though
I mean-
they can be raised by arcanotechnology.
Let's call it
kind
technology.
of.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
We
don't-
they are
yeah.
mostly raised by necromancy. Meanwhile, the Mary Shelley's
electricity
monster, it's
Lightning.
true lightning.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. So when it comes, first and foremost, Frankenstein's monster is a collection of different corpses.
Yes.
And I think one of the best depictions of it, as we said rightly so, was in the Van Helsing movie. We're gonna keep bringing this up now. Like
There are all the monsters. in
yeah,
there.
the Van Helsing movie. It was like the whole appearance of him and the way he's made,
The
with
way he speaks.
with the head that opens and with the orb
that's
inside.
that's
yeah.
corny as fuck.
Yeah, and
That's one
yeah.
of the corniest stuff.
Yeah, but you know the way he speaks and stuff.
But this is the thing, the way he speaks and the way he feels things in such a painful way. And I think that's the truth behind the monster, is that the monster is not the monster. The monster is his creator that makes him.
The
And
monster.
then, it's always the
The
human.
monster were the people hunting him.
Yeah.
That was
and-
the whole point
no,
of it.
even
at the
even
time.
more than the people hunting him,
Yeah.
but the creator
the
that
creator.
choose to. Because this is the thing. First of all, the creature goes through the trauma of being
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
already dead
Yeah.
and turning back to life, which we can only presume is not a
Pleasant
fun
thing, yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And then obviously
2 out of 10.
being abandoned would not recommend.
Would not recommend.
And then besides the painful experience of coming back to life through lightning,
Yeah.
which is pretty,
Yeah,
pretty
I mean-
painful. But then being abandoned once you are put into this world,
Yeah.
it's an emotionally.
Here's
It's
the-
something that destroys
Yeah,
you.
here's the
completely.
thing. Tell us a little bit about flesh golems.
So yeah, the
Like,
flesh
do
golem
they
is
have
different.
sentience?
So this is the
Are
thing.
they mindless?
They
I
are kind of mindless.
I like to play my flesh golems mindless.
They are technically completely mindless.
because like they're golems, meaning they have been reconstituted by a sorcerer or a
Yes,
wizard,
or a wizard,
typically.
or
Like-
an
Yeah.
arcane spellcast. I
Yeah.
mean, to be honest, it could be a cleric as well.
Yes,
because they can raise
raise the
undead
dead,
creatures. But yeah, so in D&D, they are mostly not sentient creatures. They are very sturdy creatures.
would
They have a
be
lot
very
of hit
strong. Yeah,
points.
yeah,
But what they have in common with the Mary Shelley's monster is that they actually do not take lightning damage because lightning actually heals them.
Yeah,
That is the way to
Yeah.
heal a flesh golem is through
Exactly.
lightning damage. And also they have aversion to fire.
Yes,
Like the
yes,
Frankenstein
yeah,
monster.
yeah.
They get very enraged by fire. They have I'm not sure if they still have like weakness to fire. I think they had at some point.
We'll have to check.
But yeah, and that's another point in common. And then they have a very specific trait in D&D, which basically makes them go berserk.
Yeah.
So once they reach half or lower than their total hit points, which is a hefty 127 in 2024 D&D
For CR.
for a CR5. So they're not very high. I mean, they're very easy to hit. They have only a 9 in AC.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to think of them. They're like, what's their speed? 30 or lower?
30 feet.
30 feet.
Yes.
So like they're normal like lumbering creatures, but like they're big.
Yeah.
Typically, to hit, and yeah, I can see that. Rather than difficult to hit, they can take a lot of hits.
And actually, yeah, they take a lot of. They're literally and figuratively meat shields.
Yeah.
for the creator.
I would not.
Because usually they're
Don't
kind of
barbecue flesh golem. It's not good.
please don't barbecue flesh golem. But no, they are usually used. I mean, I would say the best use you can make of them is meat shield for their creator. Like having a
that's all.
necromancer or a wizard or a
Yeah.
cleric, whatever. Having these big brutish
That's what typically golems are.
exactly.
Anyway, like golems
Protecting
are made
it.
for protection.
Exactly, and they're actually related to the Mary Shelley's
Yeah.
monster is the connection that they have with their creator.
Yes.
Because once they go into this berserk status, the only creature that can actually calm them down
Is their creator.
is their creator. So if the creator is within like 60 feet of them, they can do a charisma check to try to calm them down. But then if by the end of their turn, by the beginning of next turn, they are still below their half of hit points, they go berserk again. So there is still that feral,
Volatility kind of thing,
that volatility.
I mean,
but you get a chance to
exactly. You're dealing with a very potent, not powerful in the sense like very strong, but like you're dealing with a very potent necromantic creature made of stitched beings, essentially. And like there's a certain unruliness to that. Like
Yeah.
I think that all just represents, maybe poetically, perhaps, like the whole fact of like don't tamper with the laws of nature kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, because you're literally
You're
creating
literally
life
trying to
from
create-
dead
yeah.
flesh.
Creating
So
false life.
there is false life, yes. You
For temporary hit points.
and also they're
yeah.
incredibly. I mean, not only they're sturdy, but they do
Yeah.
quite a good damage. Like
Yeah, they do.
every slam is 2d8 plus 4 plus 1d8 lightning damage.
You're a
They
local
have
wizard.
magic resistance, so they roll all this
I think all golems
advantage.
have
I
resistance
think
to
most
magic.
of them, or all of them.
I
Might
think
be
all
all
of
of
the
them.
golems,
Yeah, might be
yeah.
all of them. And they have also a trait that is common to all the golems, which is their immutable form. They
Oh
can
yeah,
turn
they cannot be
into anything
polymorphed.
else.
They cannot
Yeah.
be polymorphed. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But yeah, and the lightning absorption, which literally heals them. Like
Yeah.
the amount of lightning damage that you deal to them heals them of the
yeah.
same amount of hit points. So yeah, it's a pretty strong creatures for a level for a CR5.
CR5,
On their own, I don't think they're super interesting. But if they are used as a
They can be used as like the end boss of start of a campaign,
Yeah.
dungeon kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
thing. You know, you're chasing a necromancer, and the necromancer gets away, but he kind of
but
reanimates.
because he drops that
Yeah.
big creature
Yeah, and
for
suddenly
you to
it's like,
fight, and then they get
Exactly.
to escape.
Yeah,
the
exactly,
battle.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yes, definitely. So this has been a very interesting dive into D&D monsters. Well, especially with with regards to their folklore. And to be honest, I think we should do a little bit more of these in the future. Maybe even go into the Witcher ones.
Yeah, I think we could reverse the roles because
Yeah.
I know a little bit of
Yeah.
the Witcher monsters, but I'm sure you are the one,
Well, I mean-
the more cultured one about Witcher monsters,
Well,
so we can reverse the
I
roles.
did write a Witcher bestiary. I'm actually in the process of introducing different images in it, so I can print it and bind it and have it with me at the LARP, kind of thing. I'm supposed to finish it by the end of November, so I find it in the contracts. That's the idea.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Okay.
I don't know if I'm gonna manage, to be honest.
I have a question
Yeah.
actually regarding the Witcher because I know you're a
Yeah.
huge Witcher fan,
Yeah.
and I also know that you have your own D&D setting, which is Yukabai, the one in
Yes.
which we played our previous
Yes.
campaign together. And I know that there are sort of witchers,
Blood hunters.
blood hunters, which are inspired by
Yeah,
witches.
exactly.
So, would you allow someone in your campaign in Yukabai to play a blood hunt,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
a witcher
Yes.
kind of character?
Yes, of course. The narrative has to fit. Like the thing with Yukabai is obviously I cannot. So there's a lot which is untold and unshown about Yukabai. If you were to look at it from an experienced veteran's point of view, you will immediately notice that there's a lot of missing items in it, missing parts that would typically make a whole setting.
Yes.
But that is by design. It started off as my first setting that I created, and that was like those missing parts were because of my shall we say, lack of experience in home brewing.
Yeah, obviously, you were making something
But then
from zero.
when I filled them in, when I filled those gaps, I withheld from putting them in the setting, and I said,
Let's make it part
it's
of.
not their time
Yeah,
yet. You know?
I think I know a little bit of those missing parts because of a character that I played had some certain connections with missing parts of the setting.
Yeah.
But I do think that's a very, very good way of not correcting a mistake.
Yeah.
Mistake.
Yeah, but building
But
on
like,
it.
building on it, like making sense of that missing part, saying, because there is a reason why, and you need to find out the reason if you want to know why those parts are missing. I think that's a very clever way of integrating eventually, or not.
Yeah.
Or at least creating a story around those missing parts.
My very first campaign that I had, the offline campaign, way before you guys came into the picture, they did actually start uncovering some of it. So 6 years into the campaign, these gaps were starting to fill up as well. But then that campaign stopped. So
as ours did.
As yours did as well.
So when are we gonna pick it up again?
I don't know. Don't pressure me.
We should don't pressure you. Excuse me. That's my job. That's literally the reason why I'm here.
I mean, look, with the Epigeeks, let me be real now. We're working on a lot of projects right now, both personal for Corso Workshop, myself, and for the Epigeeks. The project for next year is going to take up a lot of my effort, so maybe not next year campaign, but we'll see.
You shouldn't lie to me. I know you're lying to me.
Roll for insight. What the fuck can I say?
I'm gonna roll. I don't have a D20. Give me a D20.
I got all of them up there.
All right, so we have well crossed the 2 hours mark. So I think we're at 2.
Okay, it's like 2 hours and 10 minutes. So thank you so much for joining us for so far.
Yes.
You deserve some sort of achievement. If YouTube ever implements achievements, you'll be getting this for sticking with us for 2 hours and 10 minutes and more.
And thank you for doing so. Also, please let us know those 5. We only talk about 3, but those 5 that we have mentioned were our choice for the best horror themed movie monsters.
The most popular ones.
Yeah, most popular ones. Tell us which one is your favorite, or tell us which one we missed.
Yeah, I mean, you could, if you were to go beyond the Halloween aspect, you could talk about aboleths.
Yeah,
you could talk about all the aberrations. You could talk about Cthulhu.
I love the Cthulhu.
The Lovecraftian horror.
Listen, I don't know enough about the Cthulhu mythos, but that's exactly the point why I don't look into it, because I want to play something in that world.
For the Lovecraftian setting, the less you know,
I know.
Better. I know
exactly
just enough.
I don't go and look into it.
Just enough to make it horrific without without peeking behind the curtain kind of thing. And that is the perfect balance you need for Lovecraft.
By the way, we do have a very good friend of ours.
Yeah?
That has multiple times played Call of Cthulhu.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And she has also a game master for Call of Cthulhu, and she never organized to do that with us.
She asked several times.
But not to play Call of Cthulhu. She asked multiple times to play other things.
Yeah, but Call of Cthulhu.
But anyway, Evelina, if you are watching, please organize a Call of Cthulhu game.
She's one of the OG Epigeeks.
We will join. We want to play a Call of Cthulhu game.
Yes. But anyway.
Well, thank you for staying with us so far.
It was so much fun, honestly. I really enjoyed. I always enjoy the podcast, but I really enjoyed it
the
today.
Halloween, Halloween one. Yeah. It's always a special time of the year. Remember, as I said also in the beginning, remember to like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, share it with your enemies,
share it with your grandma,
share it with your grandma, with your uncle, with your cousins.
Yeah, exactly, with your grandma, especially tell them, Robbie Damon lookalike is in Malta.
Oh, Jesus, I thought
podcast
we were going.
Pepe. That's why I left it for the end. He thought he was out of it.
I'm so sorry.
No, I'm
so
not.
sorry.
So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for following us. You'll find links to all the stuff that we mentioned here.
Yeah, by the way, we'll put
Yes,
links
yes,
to
in the
the
description.
Tales of Woodcreek. We'll put links to the D&D Beyond article about Sigil. If you want to, we can add also like the links to D&D Beyond to the monsters that we talked about. If you can check them out.
Yeah, and there will also be a link to our socials, Instagram and Facebook page. But Instagram is the most.
Our Patreon is going to be
Patreon
there.
as well.
So if you want to become a supporter of the stream, beyond just sharing and subscribing, and if you have the ability to support us in any other different way, please reach out. If you cannot, just a like, a comment, it's going to be more than enough.
Exactly.
So we're going to be super grateful.
While we're here, also thank you so much for everyone who contributed to the live chat while on the premiere of this episode as well. We failed
Thank you for being there.
Yeah, we failed to thank them, like obviously because we're recording it before the premiere, but we're there with you guys.
Thank you for
We'll
sticking
be in the
around
chat
with
as well.
us. It's always a pleasure.
Exactly. And till the next time, next episode is going to be on our favorite characters.
Yes.
That's going to be an interesting one.
Remember that if you ever see a Pepe with sleeves, it's not the real one.
Exactly.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. So next time is going to be on character creation. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of session 1 by the Epigeeks. And yeah, take care, have fun, and remember to keep on being geeks.
Maybe be an Epigeek.